no football than what we're going to see this weekend. And then on Monday night, is there a better weekend? National championship game on Monday. Divisional round games on Saturday. Then you got Sunday, baby. And we got the best round of football that you could possibly get. Absolutely awesome. Guys, I appreciate you very much. Do me a favor, hit the like button. And all super chats go to the top on this Football Friday. This is the ultimate football weekend, baby. How you doing? Ultimate football weekend. Also, we got some Mike McDaniel news because he was in Tampa this morning meeting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we'll give you some insight into that here in a minute. I can't wait. Big Z's going to join us at 3:30. And then we are going to have Mike North from snowy Chicago. Then we're going to have our friend, the Philly Godfather, and he's got a compelling story for your Philadelphia Eagles and what they did after the game when they got knocked out by the 49ers. Plus, we're going to take a look at the weekend games. That's nuggets for you there at 5:30. All right, so let's get into the topic. We got a boatload of them. Hit that like button. Appreciate you guys. How you doing? And that's a good question, by the way. And from our good friends here, Big Z and Joe Kraus, have allowed me to say this because, again, this is the home of Big Sills. These other places, get this, man, that's my gumad. So Sports Grid is my gumad right now. I'm doing weekends on Sports Grid from noon to 2. And I'm going to get to promote Jacob Sports also every hour on Saturday and Sunday. So I told them we can't do it unless we are promoting this show on the weekend show. So, hey, guys, I want to thank you. And I want to thank Joe Kraus and I want to thank Xander. Because without that happening, I don't get that job. And because of you, I don't get it. So we start that show tomorrow, noon to 2. And we're looking forward to it. And it's on Sports Grid. So we'll be the shows going into the playoff games. And then also, too, going into the national championship Monday on Sunday. We'll talk about those games. Spreading his wings, you know what, though? Hey, Bruce, as I told Joe Kraus and Xander, hey, baby, this is the heartbeat. The rest of it are like my arms and legs. That's how we look at it. So, yeah, clean shaven. Thank you very much, guys. Clean shaven. Big Sills has got to kind of do TV now even more so, and I can't be a lazy bum right now. So we're all good. Hit that like button, guys. We're going to get into a big topic coming up here. Also, too, as I said, Mike North's going to join us at 4:30, and then we are going to talk to Philly Godfather. That's going to be at 5:30, as always, every single Friday. So how many people in here want to have Mike McDaniel as the new offensive coordinator? Thank you very much, guys. And it is because of you. How many people want to have Mike McDaniel as the brand new coordinator? How many people want that? You think that's a good idea? Mike McDaniel. Thank you, Jimbo. Thank you, guys. Here's my take. Follow me here on this. So this morning on my Tampa radio show, I went like, here's what people are saying because they know that you guys, the Philadelphia Eagles, are in hot pursuit of Mike McDaniel. And this is what the Tampa people are saying. Don't let him out of the building. Don't let that guy go to Philadelphia. And I said this, Mike McDaniel's getting out of the building. He just yesterday interviewed for the Baltimore Ravens job. He's going to take a look at the landscape and figure out what's best for him. Do you agree? He's going to look at what's best for him and what he's going to think about when it comes to his career. Remember, he just got whacked in Miami. He can't make another mistake, right? Okay, so follow me. If I'm Mike McDaniel, well, here, let me see what M. Reyes says here. Sills, The Bucks is an easy move for the family. It is, because all he has to do is go up I-75. You're correct. Plus state income taxes, and he just might get that job if Todd Bowles doesn't do a good job at coaching that team at 26. You're right. So here, follow me though. Doesn't this make sense? If you're Mike McDaniel, and you tell me, guys, is it better to get a job in one of the 32 coveted NFL jobs as being a head coach? Or if you're Mike McDaniel, do you want a job that has a chance of rehabilitating my resume and taking a OC job that helps me get back on top again? And a team that has a quarterback. Since I heard Zach Robinson was interviewing with the Eagles today, wasn't he on your list of coordinators a few years ago? Absolutely. Don't you think, and thank you very much, Kyle, don't you think it's best if you're Mike McDaniel, do I get an OC job? It's an OC job in Philly. Here, do you believe that an OC job in Philly is a better job than the head coaching job at Arizona? Here's why I like Zach Robinson interview. These clowns finally starting to look at McVay tree candidates. If they want things to change, get into a new direction, corporate B pump is saying that's the way you go. Do you think that Arizona Cardinal job, if you were to accept the head coaching job in Arizona, do you think that's a better job than the Eagle OC job? I don't. What am I going to do if I'm Mike McDaniel? I go to Arizona and I go to Glendale and I take that job, and what? I'm fired in 10 months because I couldn't get the quarterback right and I can't make Kyler Murray better? Don't I go to a place with a lot of talent like either Tampa Bay or Philadelphia that's got a built-in quarterback and talent around him? And I pulled the Ben Johnson. Remember what Ben Johnson did? Ben Johnson was offered the Washington Commander job, was he not? At $16 million a year. Now, remember something about Washington. He said this and did this. They were going through transition from Daniel Snyder to Josh Harris. The quarterback wasn't really solidified yet. They didn't really know what direction they were going to go. And he paused and went, you know what? I'm not doing it. And he stayed in Detroit for a year. They won 15 games. Remember, a year ago, the best regular season in the NFL, especially in the NFC, was not the Eagles. It was the Lions. And he was at the helm of that. Mission accomplished. He gets the Chicago job. Okay. I think Mike McDaniel's smart enough to know that. If I take the Titans or the Browns or the Arizona job, what's the end game? What do all those teams have in common? They don't have a quarterback and they don't have star players. I'm taking the OC job. Look around the room. There's two gigs. Do we not agree? There's two gigs right now. Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Pittsburgh and Baltimore are the best jobs available, right? Stability, winning, Well, Pittsburgh doesn't have the quarterback, though. So the best job is Baltimore. Those other jobs are trapdoor jobs because they don't have the quarterback set in. Philly and Tampa are great OC, and Detroit are great OC jobs. Here's the best jobs that are currently open. Baltimore head coaching job, Pittsburgh second, Eagles OC job, Lions OC job, then the Bucks. Those are the 5 best jobs. Browns job's not a good job. Titans job's not a good job. Cardinals job is not a good job. And I want to show you something. We did a little homework for you guys, okay? 4 years ago, when Mike McDaniel was hired, I want to throw these names at you, okay? 4 years ago, in 2022, here are the names that were hired in the hiring cycle in the NFL. Josh McDaniels, Raiders, fired. Dennis Allen, Saints, fired. Brian Dable, Giants, fired. Mike McDaniel, Dolphins, fired. Brandon Staley, at the end of the 21 season, flipping over to the 22, fired. There's only Dan Campbell, okay, this is 4 years ago. Those guys, again, you're talking about a handful of dudes, and also you would put Todd Bowles in that. So, guys, finding these head coaches, you got a 4-year window before these organizations blow you out if you're not getting the organization heading in the right direction. If they're not heading in the right direction, they're going to blow you out in 4 years. Like 20%. If there's 10 hirings, 20% of those guys are going to pan out. 80% of those guys, there's going to be 10 guys this year. 20% of those guys are going to work. And you're going to be back 4 years from now with almost the same teams again. Atlanta's a good gig too. I would put Atlanta in that list too as being a good gig. Here's my point, okay? Just because you got a job opening doesn't make it a good job. So when Mike McDaniel, at the end of the day, does he look at the Philadelphia Eagle job as a great job? I think this is all going to come down to what kind of autonomy that he does have. Can I get to bring my own coaches in? Do I have to coach in Nick's system? Do I have to go down the line of finding my own O-line coach? What is that mean? I think that's still one of the things. Yeah, and I would put the Charger one because of Herbert. Yes, Kyle, Charger job too. But you're going to have meddling there almost in the same way that you're going to have meddling in Philadelphia. Because Jim Harbaugh is going to, in my opinion, he's going to always be over the shoulder of the offensive coordinator in Los Angeles when it comes to Justin Herbert and the direction of the Charger offense. Okay? I mean, bro, make no mistake. Mike McDaniel is going to go around, and I wonder if he's going to pull the Ben Johnson. I wonder if he's going to do that. Why not? Let me pick what's the best job for me if I'm Mike McDaniel? I don't believe the head football coach of the Arizona Cardinals is the best job. I don't believe that the Tennessee Titans is the best job. I surely don't believe the Cleveland Brown job is a good job. You're headless in every single one of those places when it comes to the quarterback. So Mike McDaniel is going to look around and go, Philly, Tampa. Here's one thing about Tampa. They were prepared to make Liam Cohn the highest paid offensive coordinator in pro football before he took that Jags job. How much money are the Eagles going to pay him? Are you going to pay that guy north of $3 million? Because that's what's being reported, that the Buccaneers are prepared to pay Mike McDaniel. You think the Eagles would pay $3 million for a coordinator? $3.5 million? They were going to pay Liam Cohn that a year ago before he took the Charger gig. Money and autonomy. That's where the Eagles have to look at right now. Autonomy and dough. Does McDaniel take the Ben Johnson? That Ben Johnson move makes you think that, look at what Chip Kelly did. Let's go down the lane of what Chip Kelly did. So Chip Kelly, hey, Xander, I'm right. Am I right on this? Chip Kelly was the head football coach of the UCLA Bruins, right? He quits that job, and where does he go? He becomes the OC of the Ohio State Buckeyes. They win the national title. He becomes the offensive coordinator of the Raiders. Now he's back in college again, and he's at Northwestern as the OC. He rehabilitated his position coach resume. He may not ever get a head coaching job ever again, but you know what he did do? He'll be hireable by everybody. And let's face it, you get an OC job in Las Vegas with the Raiders, a great coach like Pete Carroll couldn't turn that thing around. What would make you think a guy like Chip Kelly's going to turn that offense around? He's not turning that offense around. Pete Carroll couldn't. And you think that Chip was? Nobody turns the Raiders around unless Al Davis is alive. Right? Okay. So, your offensive coordinator hunt continues. I wonder if they're going to go down that lane. Experience or inexperience again? Why not bring Charlie Weiss Jr. in? Bring him in. See what he can do. Right? How you doing? Right? Yeah, hey. All right. Now we get into one of the big sales topics. One of my favorite topics. Jalen Hurts. So let me go here. And let me pull this bad puppy up. Mike Silver. Jalen Hurts. Mike Silver, let me just put it to you this way. Mike Silver is one of the most respected NFL writers. Okay? And Mike Silver is respected. He and I have gone back and forth over some issues, especially when it concerned covering the 49ers. So he's intimating that Jalen Hurts inside the building, Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman are a little nervous on criticizing the quarterback. Boy, I'll tell you, when I was watching those HBO specials on the NFC East, I surely thought everything was orchestrated. Nothing negative on Jalen, because he's a brand now. Xander tells you he's the face of Jordan. Nicole Lynn tells you, his agent, he's the face of Jordan. We're not doing anything to have public conversations about whether the quarterback is good or not in pocket. We're not criticizing him whether he can read defenses. We're going to fire Kevin Patullo. And we'll blame him for Jalen's deficiencies. All of these coordinators that have been fired, if you believe the Mike Silver report, who's an accredited NFL reporter, I think that speaks volumes. They're afraid. I don't even want to use the word afraid. They're apprehensive at criticizing the quarterback in any way. I've said that since day one. I've never seen an organization. Boy, Jalen does nothing wrong. Every time you get into a press conference, how about that glazed donut fest yesterday when they were kissing each other's asses about getting blown out by a JV team and by a practice squad team? I love you, Nick. He's elite. Nick Sirianni is an elite He's an elite coach, and he got knocked out by a JV practice squad team in the NFL wildcard game. That's freaking elite. How is that elite? When you had the better roster, supposedly the better quarterback, and you had all the things, you were at home, and that's elite. You got beat by that? That's not elite, friends. What happened then? Lane Johnson was out. The worst thing that happened was you got beat by the Niners. Because every single excuse you can make, the Niners have it in spades. Hey, you lost your tackle. We lost Boza. Hey, we lost like guys in our O-line that were injured. They lost Fred Warner. Hey, our coordinator wasn't very good. Well, that's a hiring thing, not a talent thing. 4 minutes into the game, they lost George Kittle. What happened in the San Francisco game exposed the entire organization and Hurts in many ways. Okay? You have Hurts fatigue? Bro, until that guy's not the quarterback in Philadelphia, you better get yourself a Red Bull because that thing's going to continue as long as he's in Philly. You're going to be hearing that conversation about him until he's not the quarterback in Philadelphia anymore. I mean, Hurts fatigue? Bro, your offensive coordinator's fired because of Jalen Hurts. Mike Silver, I'll tell you, a guy like myself, Xander, Howard Eskin, guys that come on our show, these guys have been talking about it. I don't want to say as long as I have, but they pretty close. Like they're on the boat with me with it. All of a sudden now the national guys and the local guys, they're pulling up alongside the boat going, can we get on? Just in the nick of time, right? Sills, we need an offensive mind with great situational awareness who could have aligned with the Eagles. Also, push Jalen. Do they want to do that, though, Prince? Is that too much? Okay, I should read it all here. I don't blame Johnson firing on Jalen either. I don't blame that either. I blame that on players and the coaching philosophy that the guy's going to be a dude that's going to be a drop-back quarterback, and you want to throw the ball 390 times or 450 times, whatever it is, that you want to have a prolific offense. So listen to what Prince says here. Sills, I want an offensive-minded guy that's got great situational awareness. Dude, you're talking about very experienced coordinators that are going to demand something. And Prince, wouldn't you agree with this? If you're going to hire somebody like this, that guy's going to want to bring people in that have his vision. If you just think he's going to come in and all of a sudden Jeff Stoutland is going to buy into what Mike McDaniel is doing, I think you got a really long putt here on that. How about this? I bet you Cliff Kingsbury's run designs did not formulate with what Jeff Stoutland's run designs and his thought process on a run game should look like. That's probably why one of the reasons that Kingsbury didn't get that job. Everything's got to be compatible. You walk into a situation. Again, look at Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson doesn't coach Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is a 58% completion percentage quarterback. He's not a proficient quarterback. He is a gamer. He makes plays. There's a difference. Ben Roethlisberger wasn't really a completion freak. You know what he did? He made 4 or 5 explosion plays a game. That's what Caleb Williams is. Jared Goff is a completion percentage freak. Nowhere to throw the ball. That's why when you get to guys like that and you put pressure on him, if you put pressure on him, those percentages go down. Why? Because he can't make plays out off script. Jared Goff can't make off script plays. He's got to have a thing in rhythm and be on script. Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. These guys make plays all off script. That's the beauty in those guys. Most of those guys all have low percentage completions because they're big play guys. That's the kind of coordinator you need. Having Jalen Hurts at 67 or 68%. Hey, how about this? Caleb Williams is a less than 60% completion guy, and they beat the tar out of you. did 67 or 69% completion percentage because you have a better coordinator, or you think you do, than Ben Johnson and how he coaches Caleb Williams? It had no bearing on the game. In Chicago, they're looking for that guy to make a big play. They're not looking for him to be in rhythm like you are in Detroit to be in rhythm. The guy in Detroit's in rhythm. Boom, boom, boom. 75% completion percentage. Getting the ball out on time. Bang, bang, bang. Across the middle. Bang, bang, bang. Caleb Williams is this. Rolling. Finding a play. Minus yardage. Interception. Fumble. Doesn't get it done. Touchdown pass. 47-yard TD pass. 72-yard. Getting sacked. He's that guy. He's never going to be a rhythm guy. That's not his skill set. But he's going to make plays. Okay? He's going to make plays. Sills, there's a report that Lori, Nick, and Howie are reluctant to criticize Jalen Hurts, and others in the locker room are fed up with Hurts' play. Tell you this. That would be a problem. And if that Mike Silver report is correct, you're inside the locker room dealing with this. Hey, you're not getting it done. And I'm going to get rid of you. So wait a minute here. I don't like Gardner Johnson's attitude. But if Jalen's got a pissy attitude about something, I'm going to tolerate that. You know what that does inside a locker room? Hey, man, I know everybody's treated different, but you don't treat men differently. That's the problem you have with certain places. You don't treat a man any different than another man. When a guy is more important to your football team, hey, when Jimmy Johnson coached us, Emmitt Smith gains me 1,500 yards a year and 25 touchdowns a year, and he's an MVP. You, on the other hand, are a backup defensive lineman. You are understanding who you are. You know who you are, right? You're a backup defensive lineman, and you're down on the bottom of my 53-man roster. Every guy knew where he was on that roster when you're in a Philadelphia Eagle roster with Nick Sirianni, I'll tell you one of the reasons why I think Nick Sirianni has here, follow me here. Do you think this plays into, guys, do me a favor, please hit the like button. Thanks for the supers. So let me ask you something about Nick Sirianni. So he praises Howie Roseman all the time, right? In press conferences. Fair enough. If he starts criticizing Howie's players, isn't that an indictment on Howie? Especially when you don't have any control over the guys that get. You know what, too? I heard John McMullen say something. If you don't believe that Nick Sirianni has say on who he hires, I don't believe for a second he hired Vic Fangio. I do not believe that. I don't believe that. And if that's the case, he hired Ben Johnson and he hired Kevin Patullo. And by the way, they haven't fired him yet. So Nick is going to hire coaches that may not be compatible with Howie Roseman's personnel. That sounds like a disconnect. Now we know why you don't hire coaches to fit Jalen's skill set. Because if it's true that Nick is in charge, Nick's not going to hire a guy to fit Jalen's skill set ever. He's going to hire a guy that fits his offensive skill set. End of story. You're not hiring a guy in this next cycle that's going to be a benefit to Jalen. As I told you before, you're hiring a coach that fits into Nick's offensive system and on his coaching staff. Plain and simple. You're not hiring a guy to help Jalen Hurts in the offense. You're hiring a guy to help elevate Nick's offense. End of story. End of story. So if you think you're getting a guy, hey, that guy could really help Jalen. You don't know what you're talking about. You're going to be in a position, okay? You're going to be in a position where guess what? That coordinator is there for Nick. He's not going to be there for Jalen. According to John, if that's how that works. Now I know why Jalen Hurts doesn't have a coach. Shane Steichen was hired by Nick, not for Jalen. He took the play calling over because he knew how to deal with RPO. They haven't hired an RPO style coach since. Do you find that odd? And to criticize Jalen, you're criticizing the owner. And you're criticizing Howie's move for giving the guy $250 million. So you're going to do shit Nick's 50-18 way. Dude, in 4 years, Nick Sirianni's got complete autonomy here with this in the direction that he's right. If you want to bring Mike McDaniel and you want to start dancing around whether you think that guy's a good coach or Kevin Stefanski or whomever, you know what Nick has the ultimate in your face with? What have you done in the last 4 years? I could sit down in front of anybody if I'm Sirianni and go, what have you done in 4 years that we haven't done? Elevated offenses. Elevated offenses? How about I'm 50-18 with 2 NFC titles in the Super Bowl, and I'm 6-3 in the playoffs? Again, come at me again with what? You want to help my run game? Fine. We need help in the run game. Pass game? Quarterback is who I told you he is. We're not asking that quarterback. I'm not bringing you in here for the quarterback to throw 650 times. That's not a formula we've won here. I'm 50-18 running it my way. You guys think all of a sudden they're going to elevate? Nick's going to take a little bit of what this new guy's doing, and if that guy doesn't conform with the way they've been winning here, that guy's going to be out of a job at the end of 26. So Eagles really blew a big opportunity this season for a repeat. Love the show. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is a blown opportunity. 23 and 25 are blown opportunities. You guys think you have this window open for what, 8 years? Shit. You've never had back-to-back championships in your entire franchise's history. You've got 2 in 60 years. You've got 4 appearances in 60 years, and you got 2 wins. My opinion, as I said before, I think you've laid probably 2 Super Bowls because of the way you do business. You should have 4 Super Bowls right now. Let me show you something on how an organization is to be run. So, how do you look at it? How do you look this way? So, Bob Kraft has a shot to get back to an NFC championship game and win it and get to the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. Team's got to go up to Gillette, the Texans, right? So a dome team, now defense travels, but they got to go up to Gillette and Foxborough in bad weather, okay? Bob Kraft could be standing in Santa Clara in a month with Mike Vrabel and Drake May. The last time he was standing in a Super Bowl, he was with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. The time before that, and those guys, he was standing in the Super Bowl with Parcells and Bledsoe. There's nothing like it in the NFL that's done that. Show me. Oh, and for the record, 6 Super Bowl wins and 10 AFC championships. He may have 11. Show me where that is anywhere in the league. Where a guy took 2 different people, coaches and quarterback to the Super Bowl and won the freaking thing. That's a guy who empowers his coach. Hey, I want to hire Josh McDaniel. Get this. So Josh McDaniel was a former head coach and wanted the Patriots job. And there was a debate that when Belichick left, that Josh McDaniel was going to become the head coach in New England, right? What does Vrabel do? And his exit to Indianapolis or wherever, I forget which one it was, his exit was horrible. You know what Vrabel does? He walks upstairs and goes to Kraft and says, I want that guy. Patriots didn't offer that guy up. Vrabel goes, I want him. Former NFL coach. You know what Kraft did? Okay. Rest is history. If Nick had any Stundines, he'd walk upstairs to Jeffrey Lurie and go, I want Doug Peterson. The king of Philly, taking a backup quarterback, changing the offense with Frank. I want him as my next OC. We can't do that. Why? I'm looking at the best candidate for Philly, for Jalen, and for my unit. Isn't Doug Peterson the best candidate? Knows the organization, what they want. Knows how to get the most out of any guy to win a game. Is a people connector. Loves the franchise. And one whale of a coach. You guys will do this. Never happen. Of course it won't happen. You know why? Ego. I'm not saying you're wrong, Sue. I'm saying they're wrong. Hey, dude. I would hire anybody if he made my team better. And I don't care what it meant. If I had to put my ego aside and my team became better, I would hire the guy. I'm not going to sit there and do this. I don't want to hire it because it's bad optics. That's not coaching. Bad optics has nothing to do with football. Bad optics? What are we doing here? I want to win. Don't you have the same vision as me? I want to win, whatever that looks like. No, they can't. Sills, they would never do that. I know they wouldn't. You know why? I thought for sure I was going to hear people say that the Eagles are going to think out of the box. That's out of the box. You know, you hire as your quarterback coach, Nick Foles. Foles as your quarterback coach. Doug Peterson as your head coach. Frank Reich as your passing coordinator. Then you can keep your Bobo if you want, and he can learn from. Can you tell me this? Ask yourself this. Frank Reich, Doug Peterson, and Nick Foles on your offensive coaching staff. You think your offense is better with that? And do you think that offensive coaching staff would look like the coaching staff you have on defense if you brought those personnel guys in on your offensive side? Yes or no? If I hired Frank Reich, Doug Peterson, and Nick Foles as my quarterback coach, and I had Nick Sirianni in there with those four dudes, you're telling me that doesn't rival your defensive coaching staff? Look at the guys you had last year. They couldn't get out of their own way. Seals, could Justin Jefferson work in this offense? This offense, Justin Jefferson would have been a nightmare this year. You know that gold chain around his neck? that thing would have been around Nick's neck. Dream team coaching staff. Gee, why not take advantage? If you think you have so much talent on offense, why not make your coaching staff resemble that talent? I find that hard to believe. Every time they come at us with, we're hiring a nobody, I look and I go, why? Clint Hurt, Bobby King. You know who Bobby King was recommended by Nick to Vic Fangio because he worked in San Diego with John Pagano. Bobby King was out in L.A., and John Pagano then recommended Bobby King to Vic Fangio. And Nick goes, yeah, I worked with him out in San Diego. And he did. He was on that coaching staff out there. If you look at many of the guys that are on your coaching staff, or Mike McCoy's or Doug Peterson's, they were all off that Mike McCoy staff in San Diego. They all had connections. I mean, get yourself here. Doug Peterson's the best hire. He's the best hire. Doug Peterson's the best hire. Okay? So get this. If I'm going to hire a guy who's been fired, at least have him won the Super Bowl. At least have been in the playoffs that you can talk Nick. Doug Peterson can talk to Nick at a meeting and go, well, I'd like this. And Nick's going to go, well, guys won a Super Bowl. Guys, coach with Andy Reid. Andy Reid didn't want me on his staff at Kansas City. I know. You're pipe dreaming, Sil. I know. Kevin Patullo, Brian Johnson. Who in the world makes those hires? Jesus, criminy. Nobody hires apprentices to CEO. You don't go from apprentice to CEO. That's theoretically what Kevin Patullo did. He went from a pass game coordinator, which is like a golfer job, or whatever the hell he was, to the OC. It's like an apprentice job to being the CEO. That never made sense. Why not? If you hire somebody that's never called plays before and you want to turn around and you want to hire somebody that's a chick, why not? I don't know. She may be better than what Kevin Patullo was. How about getting John DeFilippo back in the organization with those guys? He was a great quarterback coach in 2017. Hey, by the way, too, that's another thing. That's actually a great point, Trav. Hey, dude, sometimes when you hire certain assistant coaches and they were in a place and you bring them into your place and you wonder why they don't pan out, you know why? Well, who are the guys he was working with at the previous stop? How talented are those guys? You know how some people pluck a guy like here, Raheem Morris coming out of the LA Rams organization and becoming the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, well, the Los Angeles Rams have a great organization. The head football coach is one of the ultimate play callers. Plus, you have Les Snead and Kevin Demoff in the building. Those are exceptional executives. They're exceptional. The coach is going to go to him. You know what the coach does? You take the defense. I'm over here. I have final say on everything. Run it by me, but you're the boss. That's what Wade Phillips told me. That's what Wade Phillips told you. Hey, at the end of the week, Sean McVay has a meeting with his D coordinator, and they go over stuff on what, he wants to accomplish. And most of the time, Sean doesn't say anything. Sometimes he does. It's his shop to run. That's what they do in Philly. It's his shop. You know what's crazy is that Vic Fangio runs his own shop in Philly. OC in Philly doesn't run his own shop because the head coach still runs the shop. You're an apprentice when you come in. If Mike McDaniel or any of those other guys roll into Philadelphia and think you're going to supersede Nick Sirianni, Xander's right. You might as well fire the guy. If you don't want him to be the face of your franchise and run the team, and you want to kind of have him as like a puppet coach, then why not just fire the guy? All the things that I said were true. He's not a product of that. Right? He didn't build that record. He's a product of the record. I think some of you are starting to come around to it. It's one or the other. Either that Nick built that record, or the organization thinks that Nick was a caboose. Hey, the next hire is going to tell you. They got to be very careful on this next hire. Because this next hire will expose Nick Sirianni. If you hire this incredible offensive-minded guy and he changes the entire coaching staff, what do you guys think the key will be on the hire, on knowing if the guy's got autonomy or not? What do you think will be the one thing that will tip it off, that will tell you that the coordinator has say? What will be the one thing that will tell you that guy right there? If Jeff Stoutland is still on the coaching staff with the new OC, and you're expecting a different style of play, Jeff Stoutland won't be on the coaching staff. He's a run game guy, not a pass coordinating guy. Since when have the Philadelphia Eagles ever had a prolific passing game? These are the first guy that's ever had 1,000 yards in the history of your franchise. How many guys have you ever had that had 100 catches prior to these two freaks showing up? None. If Stoutland's still here, it's Nick's show. If Stoutland's not here, it's the new dude show. And that means they clipped your coach. That means your coach and this dude here. Remember one of the questions I asked with Kellen Moore? I said, I wonder what that relationship with Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore is going to be. Well, you know what Kellen did? Kellen bought into what Nick said. Quarterbacks limited. We got to run the ball. You can't throw the ball around with all that motion BS. They were running motions, all kinds of things that in the first 4 games in 24, that went away. They took a blowtorch to that playbook, and it went run right, run left, run right, run left, throw a little, run right, run left. They took a blowtorch to that. By the way, I'm not suggesting in any way you fire Jeff Stoutland. I mean, but let's be candid here. All those players that they've drafted and brought in, he hasn't done anything with them. Who's he developed in the last 3 years? Mulata? Fair enough. Who else? Cam's going the other way. Well, Silsey's hurt. Okay. Cam? Silsey's hurt. Okay. How about Tyler Steen? He's a dude. Hey, Sil's Fred. I think Fred's a pretty good backup. He's done a nice job with Fred. Fred's a backup, but yeah. How about all them other guys you spend all those draft picks on? Now, they're not high draft picks. You're expecting to find Jordan Mailata in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round again. I think that's a pretty long putt for you. But how do you think the offensive line kind of regressed a little this last year? Once again, I'm not telling you to fire the guy. I'm telling you the OC want to come in. He want to change that guy. If you're going to have a passing attack, that may not be the offensive line coach that he wants to bring in. He might want to bring in his own guy. How do you know Stoutland wants to work with a guy? Does Stoutland have any say when it comes to Nick? Hey, Nick, I can't work with that guy. Okay. Well, we're going to move in a different direction. You think the organization, now let me ask you this. You think the organization hires a coordinator based on what can work with Jeff Stoutland and Nick? Well, then you're limited more. I think Jeff Stoutland's going to the Hall of Fame. I do. That don't mean he fits with these new guys coming in. You could be a great coach and not fit in. You know, you guys ever hear the name Dante Scarnecchia? You guys know who that is? If you think that Jeff Stoutland is better than Dante Scarnecchia, you're drunk on Eagle Green. They fired his ass after Bill left. That was Bill Parcells' and Bill Belichick's offensive line coach. One of the greatest in the history of the sport. Okay? One of the greatest. "34 years. Why do you think? They ran the same system. They didn't do anything different. Hey, Beggs, when Scarnecchia was in New England, it went from Parcells to Pete Carroll to Belichick, right? Dante Scarnecchia. By the way, so people know who he is, once you post his rings and his AFC championships. But when a new guy came in, they forced him into retirement. Dante Scarnecchia? Look him up. New England Patriot. Owner of 11 AFC championships. 6 Super Bowl rings. Truly, you could make him and McKintrick, who was in San Francisco, as 2 of the greatest offensive line coach, Hudson Houck. There's so many great ones. Jeff Stoutland is a really good one. There's no question. But these dudes, Mud was one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time. Okay? My point is that I'm making, this is not really more about Jeff. This is more about the organization and what they're going to let loose and how much control you're getting. If Jeff Stoutland is going to be in the coaching staff and Jeff wants to work with the new dude, maybe he doesn't. I mean, maybe he doesn't. Okay? But you're going to know how much autonomy this new OC has when you see the new hire. Okay? And if Jeff Stoutland is still on that staff, like I said, look, Dante Scarnecchia, Jeff Stoutland, Howard Mudd, Joe Moore, those dudes are truly some of the greatest offensive line guys of all time. And Stoutland's in that. Anybody put up Scarnecchia's rings and how many he won? It's mind-numbing. I don't want McDaniels. All his Miami team soft. Well, okay. So you're not looking to improve the pass game. You're looking to improve the run game. Well, Mike McDaniel doesn't fit then. Mike McDaniel is a pretty good run coordinator too. That's a pretty good run game down there that they had. You know, not bad, but it wasn't spectacular or anything. Sills, when do you think we have a new OC? How do you know he's still not coaching on somebody's staff as an assistant? and he's not on the McVay or the McDonald tree up in Seattle. How do you know he's not one of them dudes? Okay, so I don't know. You know, why wouldn't you want to hire somebody from Ben Johnson's coaching staff? Who's working with Ben? That's who you hire. You look at the teams that are having success on what you want and what you envision. Boy, they run the ball around and throw the ball around like we want to have a coach come in here and coach Jalen Hurts. Well, who's playing like that now? Chicago. All right. Who do they have on that staff that we'd like to bring in? I mean, I'm not gonna bring anybody in from Kyle Shanahan's staff. Those are progression readers. I'm not gonna bring anybody in from Sean McVay. Sean McVay got away from Jared Goff. You think he's gonna bring in a guy to coach Matt Stafford that coaches Jalen Hurts' style? There's nobody on that coaching staff that he has on that Rams staff that would even want to go anywhere near Philadelphia. Why? Nobody coaches that style of play. Dante Scarnecchia, 5 Super Bowls, 10 AFC championship games. And they fired his ass or forced him into retirement because the new staff came in. Scarnecchia's departure was a disaster completely. You take that guy out of the building, one of the greatest offensive line coaches in the history of the sport. Fire every coach on offense? Whoa. That means you're firing a 50-18 team's offense. 2 NFC titles. You want to fire everybody because what? We stumbled in a game, in a wild card game, and we won 11 games? NFL doesn't think like that. They think they're, hey, do you think the Eagles think they're a play away or three healthy players away from winning a Super Bowl? Or do you think that they think that they're a coordinator and a quarterback away? Ask yourself that. Do you think the Eagles think they're a coordinator away from winning a Super Bowl or a quarterback and coordinator and health away from being? They think they're a coordinator away. They don't think that other stuff. They don't think they're a quarterback away. They think they're health and a coordinator. And they get both, they're going to win again. Tank fits McDaniel's offense more than Saquon. So you're bringing Mike McDaniel to prove the run game. Interesting. Just I was curious with Jason Kelsey's criticism of players. Do you think his opinion is higher valued than other media because he's been under those coaches? Got to always be careful here, my friend. Does Jason speak for the players, himself, or the organization, or all of the above? Remember something. He's got a funny relationship now with the Philly fans, I think. Rooting against you in the Super Bowl and rooting for his brother. I wouldn't do that. If my game in a football game, if a football game is the predetermining factor of my love for my brother, we got a problem. I tell my brother, hey, just like we were in the backyard, I want to beat you at tackle football. I want to beat you at shooting hoops. I want to beat you at wrestling. But when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, hey, I want my brother to beat the team that gave me everything I had. I don't look at stuff like that. Hey, my love for my brother has nothing to do with a football game. My love for my brother has everything to do with what we say and what we do and how we build our relationship as we move and get older in our lives. That ain't through a football team. That ain't through a game. That has no bearing on my love for my brother. I mean, I don't know how people tie that in. If I root against my brother, I don't love him. No, I'm rooting for my team because I love my team and I don't like the Chiefs. I don't want my brother to fail. I want your Chiefs team to. I'm not rooting for the Chiefs. Yeah, really. Like the Super Bowl was going to determine the love of our relationship. Sounds to me like it wasn't really a relationship to begin with then. That's my problem with Jason Kelsey. Jason Kelsey wants his cake and eat it on both sides, and all the BS that they say and all the stuff that he says to the media. And then he comes in and he's a mouthpiece for the organization. And he tells you all this other stuff, this player accountability. Yeah. He backs Nick. Hey, man, he wants a key fob too. I'm with it. That's all right, though. I really actually think if it's me, I give the guy less credibility because I can't tell what lane he stands on. Got to stand for something. Hey, Big Rhythm. If you don't stand for one thing, dude, you'll fall for everything, won't you? My love for my family is not based on something superficial. It's based on actions and years of love and years of commitment. That's how I look at love. Commitment, sacrifice, not a game. Don't really have a relationship and you don't really have a family if it's based on exterior things, I think. Hey, Sills, I saw Clint Hurt going to be a head coach at the Senior Bowl. Can you ask him who he thinks he could be down there at 23 if he stays there? I will. I didn't know he was going down to Mobile. So he's going down to Mobile? Cool. Kelsey played horrible in a Super Bowl against his brother. He probably wanted to give that game to him. I don't know about that. His wife's more real than he is. Yeah, man, I find that stuff stupid. Hey, brother, I love you very much, and I'm pulling for you. Eagle fans are going to be mad at me, but they'll get over it. Yeah, really? That's not how I'm starting to look at you guys. You know, you guys got memories like elephants. I told you before, I personally don't give a shit about your team. I do love the fans, though. I think it's a great sports market. Truly one of the greatest of all time. Man, you make those teams roll. Fans are great. Fans are edgy. Fans, I mean, they care. You know how many markets I've spoken in that no one cares? It's refreshing. Sileo, you're so full of it, your eyes are brown. Okay, great. At least there's a pulse. Look at this. He stopped it because he couldn't get another ring himself. The 24 one. I can't think he was really happy about that, can you? That building used to be special. I think he can get, hey, hold on. Are you guys under the impression you don't have a special franchise? I think you're in the wrong lane with that one. I think you're in the wrong lane there. Dude, that's a great franchise. You're winning a shitload of games. You didn't fall off the cliff. You tripped. You tripped. This is a trip. This ain't a fall. Falling is like you're not going to get back up and you're not going to be in the room again. Now, at the end of 26, if you don't make the playoffs, then there's concern. Tell you this, if you don't make the playoffs 2 years in a row, they'll fire Nick Sirianni. Big Clint must stay. I want him to replace Vic. I'm going to tell you this. Don't be shocked if he's your DC in New York. Just saying. Don't be shocked. If he gets a call to be the D coordinator in New York, wouldn't that be wild? Christian Parker in Dallas and Clint Hurt in New York with the Giants. Hey, and you got to go out, and I think Vic would do a great job of bringing guys in and replacing whomever. I think he's got a list and a Rolodex as big as his defensive playbook. So I wouldn't. I mean, if you had another dude in there, that's one thing. But you have Vic Fangio in there. He knows talented people. I'm not used to Sills not downing the team. You don't have to down the team. You got beat by a JV team. What do you think? We're going to pile on? If you don't know you missed an opportunity, what's the point of piling on? I'm not piling on. You missed the window of your Super Bowl window. End of story. That's on you guys to have to decipher if you're heading in the right direction. You failed. Super Bowl windows are probably 5 years, unless you got Brady or Mahomes. That's why you don't have a big window. Because you don't have Brady and Mahomes. Your window is never going to be long. And was never going to be long. Because you don't have Brady and Mahomes. Those guys were the whiteout, so to speak, with bad things. If teams lost coaches, they lost players. You had Brady and Mahomes. Look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow got to a Super Bowl. They started losing players like Jesse Bates on defense. They started losing some other components on defense. Not going back to Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's chances of getting back to a Super Bowl are zero in that organization. They ain't going back. Based on what? Joe Burrow having the top offense in football? I just saw Dak Prescott have the top offense in football. What did it get them? 8. What was it? 7, 8, and 1? Congratulations. You get to pick up your I participated in the NFL season badge and put it on your shirt. Hey, we played here. We had a number one. You see, when you have the number one offense, you get a badge for that. When you win the NFC East, you get a hat and a T-shirt for that. Right? When you win the NFC, you get a nice trophy, the Lamar Hunt trophy, and you get the George Halas trophy. Nice. When you win the big one, you get the big float parade. And Xander's out getting the float. And he's there on Broad Street with his lovely sister and his old man, and they're sitting there with a great team, and everybody's there having a fun time. That's what you get. You guys want a hat and T-shirt this year. You lost an opportunity. Camelot, at least before this 5-game losing streak. Yeah, but losing Vladder is a big deal. Let me say this to you, my friend. Make no mistake about it. This is going to be one of the more compelling off seasons in what they do, style of play. Titans requested an interview for Steve Spagnuolo. I don't know how that worked out. Well, because you're asking him to be a head football coach. And you got to depend on whether or not his contract is up in Kansas City if he's a DC. I'm assuming that's for a head job. By the way, Steve Spagnuolo got jobbed in St. Louis. And Kevin Demoff and Les Snead said they never gave him the opportunity to succeed in St. Louis. And if there's a guy that deserves an opportunity to become a head football coach again, it's Steve Spagnuolo. So let me go here. Oh, let me finish that topic up. What about that Mike Silver report? Organizations afraid to criticize Jalen Hurts. How the hell do you coach a player if you can't criticize? You learn from failure. Don't sit around telling the guy's doing well when the guy sucks. I've never heard of such a thing. Being afraid to criticize? Hoss, I'm not criticizing you because, some of you in here, when you hear me criticizing, you think I hate the kid. If I didn't criticize the guy, if I didn't like the guy, I wouldn't criticize the guy. If I didn't think the guy had talent, I wouldn't criticize him. You don't hear me criticizing Tanner McKee. You know why? I don't care about the guy. I could care less. I don't criticize Jahan Dotson. Why? Jahan Dotson is nothing to the offense. You criticize ones you care about and know are good, not ones you hate. I don't hate people and then criticize. If I hate you, I don't talk about you. I don't talk about you. Like, you don't hear me talking about people I can't stand. If I hate you, I don't talk about you. If I think there's something to you and there's a winning quality about you and you're a leader of a team, I'm going to talk about you. I mean, well, you rip them, you hate them. Not in my world. When you rip people, hey, you think Jalen Hurts was coached? Where do you think Jalen Hurts was coached the hardest? It took the most criticism. In his career, where do you think? Okay? Why get the OC? Your quarterback ain't good enough. Sill's last 2 days. What are you going to change? Okay, Emrys. You get a coordinator and you bring him in. What's he going to change? That you were 50-18. Curious. This guy, Emrys, is so dumb. I mean, seriously, he would be the last guy picked in flag football, and he'd be the first guy you murdered in dodgeball. Like, where's Emrys? I'm putting this dodgeball right in his face. He'd be the first guy you hit in dodgeball. You know, the guy that stumbles at the line there where you can't go over the center line, and then you would just wind up like you were Wheeler, and you would slam that ball right in his face, and that'd have a big old Wilson imprint in his face. And you're like, you're out. And then you kick him. That's who Emrys is in dodgeball. And I would turn the dodgeball right to the Wilson brand. Please, Sills. Please. Please. That ain't helping. Wham! That ain't helping. Big old Wilson goes home to his mom and dad. Sileo took my milk money again for the 5th straight day, and I got a Wilson imprint on my face here. How'd you get that, son? He hit me in dodgeball. I was the first guy out. Every single game we play, Dan hits me in the face with the dodgeball. The coach comes over. I cry. I get a towel. I sit over to the side. We say we're going to play another game. He does it again. Every single time he gets the ball, Sileo hits me in the face with the dodgeball, and I got Wilson under my eye, Dad. What am I supposed to do? Go fight him. Dad, you can't fight the beast. Holy cow. I'd have so much fun torturing that kid in school. Every time he came walking by in the hallway, I'd trip him. Or I'd kick him, right? And I'm not a bully. But for him, I'll break the bank for that. Hey, where's Emrys? He's in my class. You know, I get my little spitball with my little straw right behind the ear. Stop. You know, he's the kid that does that. Stop. Poof, right in the eye. Teacher, Big Sills is hurting me. Let me write it down. Yeah, 3:21 in the afternoon. Big Sills is making fun of me, and he just hit me with a spitball. Sister Judith, I want him suspended, please. Yeah. Ideal off season. Sign someone exciting. excited about Hurts who can re-engage AJ. And then, that's right. And then this offseason, AJ and Hurts working together, unlike the last offseason. I actually like that. Get people and working them together. Hey, dude, I ain't going anywhere with AJ. Okay? When players are stars in this league, how much do sponsors, agents, brand deals have a say with organizations about these players? Or better yet, this is the GOAT. Nicole, my boy and my guy Jalen's not feeling very excited about the organization liking him enough. There was a little bit of criticism in there from the quarterback coach about we got to get this thing going. Hey, the quarterback coach, the only thing that was said in that Hard Knocks NFC East was when the quarterback coach said, we got to get this going. And Jalen's like, right? And that was the only time I heard something that was of substance. The rest of that stuff I saw boom mics and, hey, everybody, this is Jalen Hurts. We got to get everybody working on the same page. I thought I was watching George Patton. I was like, look at that guy lead. Until he got into an NFC wild card game. I was calling him duck soup. Duck soup. Frank Reich as the OC. Rivers. Paul as the pastor QB coach. Phillip Rivers, he's coaching the high school. He don't want to do that. Okay? Agents have way too much power, actually. I'm not having Jalen Carter play this week because he's putting too much bad tape up. So Howie, he's not playing in Giant game 1. My client's sitting out. Is that okay? Well, it doesn't really matter. He needs plasma injections. We've decided. You didn't go to our team doctors? No, we got a second opinion on this. We're holding our guy out. Yeah, but wait. Plasma injections? You might as well shut him down the whole rest of the year. Plasma injections. That's like Botox to your lips. I mean, Sue, you know what I'm talking about. Getting plasma injections? It's like getting Botox to your lips. It does nothing for a little bit. Then you're back to those squinty-ass little lips, right, Sue? I don't know. Yeah. Hey, I have no more lines in my head. Why? Well, the Botox wore off. Ask Kevin Reyes. He takes Botox. He's got to go out there when he goes on his dates with Nick. Right? How do you think he gets into NovaCare? Donuts and coffee and Krellers for Nick. I mean, how the hell do you think he gets in? His takes? Doubtful. This guy talks like we won a Super Bowl he won a Super Bowl as a player, coach and GM. Go check his stats out. Hey, Johnny. No, I talk about your football team, and I've been a massive successful sports talk host over the last 35 years. That's how I talk. And one thing's for sure, at least I've been in those rooms instead of been in peephole rooms. I mean, at least I've been in them rooms. I don't know. Eagles might trade him. AJ broke Lori's rule of speaking out. Let me hook you up on something. When somebody of that talent is in my room, I'm going to hook you up on something. I'm going to be a very forgiving man. Hey, AJ broke a rule. Oh, really? What's the rule he broke? Okay. What's the rule he broke? Well, he spoke on like social media. And yeah. So what? So what? So what? I don't care. A.J. Brown goes nowhere. Okay? See Johnny here? Johnny cares more about taking shots at me than his shitty teams play this year. All needs to be said. Hey, Johnny, have at it, kid. Glad you're in here, son. So when you go to bed tonight and you write down other little insulting things to say to me, you could do that on the weekends now, and you could do that on Monday too, okay, son? So when you're sitting there with your boyfriend and you're writing all that stuff down on what you want to insult me on, we'll be talking about the Eagles going forward. Happy to have you, kid. Keep the algorithm going. Sills, isn't it crazy how all the former Pop Warner players and high school hopefuls and Madden coaches take shots at a guy who actually has a resume and can't be unwritten from history? I know. I got 2 national title rings, and I was a star in college. And I was drafted almost as high as Jalen Hurts. How you doing? This guy was like 15, all Norristown, all city. But I got hurt when I ran to Wawa, and some guy opened the door, and I broke my knee. And before you know it, my cartilage was gone, and I was delegated to being a broom closet guy, like Howie Roseman when he got fired the first time for Chip. All you got to do, there's a tape there. You can go watch it, kid. It's there for the world to see. Go watch my college highlights. You don't believe me? Go watch it. It's documented. They'd rather keep a stress out AJ. Whoa. No. I'll tell you how I handle AJ Brown. By the way, we got almost 1,000 on all the platforms. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. Please hit that like button. This is what I say to AJ. AJ, I want you to come into my office, man. Sit down, son. AJ, how can I make you happy? Right there, you put it on the table, because then he gets to say if he wants to be traded. Well, and then if he starts beating around, no. We're having a man-to-man conversation here. How do you want, and how can we make you happy? What do you want? If he says new quarterback, if he says I want to trade, now we're in a different place. If he says, I just want to be more involved, I'm not moving that guy. It's my job to get him involved. If you're a coach, that's your number one job, is to get him involved. Like Kurt Warner said on our program. My job is to make him happy. Well, I don't want to go down that lane. Wait a minute. I'm not talking about treating anybody different in your locker room than any other man. There's 2 different conversations. I'm not treating any guy differently as a man than I would someone else. I always tell people, just because you have more money than other people, that don't make you a better man. That's got nothing to do with being a man. Now, we got to talk about our football team. How can I make you happy? I want you here, but not at the expense of all the noise we had. We can't have that. And by the way, as a champion, you know that. You need to have, I don't know if they have come to Jesus conversations with these players. Because if you did, that shit would not be going on. How did Mike Tomlin get Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell to play for decades in that place and got the best out of them? Because he had come to Jesus conversations with them. I think you have to have come to Jesus conversations with Jalen. Sit his ass down. Hey, dude, we got to improve the pass game here. How can we make that happen? By the way, Jalen, we need you to run more. If you can't run, we got a whole different way of looking at the offense then. We got to come up with a different way. If Barkley's toast, we got to figure that out. This is about getting the yes, not about getting to feelings being mended or feeling good about yourself. This is the NFL, dude. Says, Phillips, he re-signing with Philly, it's all going to come down to Rosenhaus. And what Rosenhaus thinks his market value is. Know that for a fact. If they think he's a $28 million guy, Drew's going to go out and pimp that. If the Eagles think he's a $22, $23 million guy, then there could be a compromise somewhere. I think they're probably around $5 or $6 million away. Jimmy Johnson handled guys like Irvin and Charles Haley completely differently than anyone else. I'll make the point to you. Troy Aikman was the hardest guy Jimmy Johnson ever coached, not Michael Irvin. Troy said no to Jimmy almost his entire football career. He turned him down to go to Oklahoma State. He went to Oklahoma. He turned him down in his transfer when he transferred from OU to UCLA. We offered him a scholarship, turned him down. And the only time that he had to work with Jimmy is when the Cowboys drafted him. And then there was a debate. If you remember right, Jimmy went and got Steve Walsh, who had won national championship games. Jimmy Johnson drafted Steve Walsh because he didn't need a great quarterback to win Super Bowls. He needed a great run game and a great defense, and he was going to win Super Bowls. He knew that. Troy Aikman didn't play any different than Steve Walsh could have played. He was just bigger and more physical. The difference between those two guys is size, not ability. Steve had a pretty good arm. They didn't need the arm. They needed it on third down. Troy was never a 4,000 guy. He was 3,200, 18 touchdowns because he had Emmett and Emmett's longevity. Emmett won those championships. Troy had nothing to do with it. The triplets order is by far Emmett, Michael, and Troy. Troy's the third dude. You would have won Super Bowls without Troy Aikman because Jimmy would have got a guy that played like him. He was the most replaceable of the three. Emmett and Michael are not replaceable. Aikman was replaceable. He was thinking about replacing him. Do you think Sirianni and Hurts are strapped? Do you think Sirianni and Hurts are strapped with Jalen? Because Jalen, for the most part, made Eagles and them look good with winning. Howie for drafting a Super Bowl MVP and Nick for his record. Jason, if 50-18 is strapped and 2 NFC titles, I don't know. Hey, what Eagle fans don't like and what they're not accepting, you married an ugly chick. But she's a great woman. She's great. Great mom. Great with everything. Great partner. It just doesn't look the best. You always question, could I have done better? And you're like, then what? 50-18? Justin Herbert and these other guys like Burrow, they're the great-looking chicks. And that doesn't last. Hurts in how they can play with him. You can do a lot of things with Jalen. You don't have to have a big-time offense. You just don't like it and how it looks. I can't believe you're bitching about the look more than the results. Think about that. People in Philadelphia are complaining more about how it looks than the results. Am I right? Kind of doesn't make sense. Report just came out from The Athletic that they are linked to a quarterback early in the draft. Here we go, Sills. That's what I mean. Howie and Sirianni backing Hurts because he made the Eagles look good for most part. So that's why Howie brought up the winning. And I agree with you. Winning covers all that BS, Jason. Hit the like button, guys. Appreciate you. So there's a report in The Athletic that the Eagles are going to draft a quarterback early. If that goes on, this will be the greatest offseason in history if they take a quarterback in the second or third round. Like, if the Eagles draft a quarterback and it's Fernando Mendoza in the second or third round, oh my God. Please, football gods, make that happen. Holy cow. Fernando Mendoza, Philadelphia, second round pick. Woo! And especially if he comes off winning a natty. The Eagles are linked to picking a quarterback early. Now, I got to ask you this. Is that to entice the new coordinator? That they're leaking that out? Eagles. Jacob Sports. Draft day. With the 56th player taken in the draft, the Philadelphia Eagles draft quarterback. Come on now, man. This is getting too good. The offseason's going to be. It is already. I got a ton of questions here, man. Who do you believe? Oh, wait, I'm going to save that for Xander. I am. And I'm going to, there's one on AJ in here too. And I'll ask him about that OC versus a head coaching job. Is Mike McDaniel really the guy? All right. At 4:30, our friend Mike North in snowy Chicago, Soldier Field, under a blizzard warning. Then at 5:30, we got quite a story heading your way, folks. Wait till the Philly Godfather tells you this little tidbit that we have at 5:30. I guarantee you this thing goes viral. This story we have at 5:30. I got to appreciate each and every single one of you on all the platforms doing very well right now. We thank you very much. Keep those supers coming. Please hit the like button here without further ado. The man who goes around with tremendous topics each and every single morning on Birds 365. He is our friend Big Zay. Xander Kraus joined us.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Does Mike McDaniel, does he pull the Ben Johnson and pick the OC job? Or does he pick a head coaching job like Cleveland, Tennessee, Arizona?
Yeah.
What do you think what would make him more attractive as a hire? And how do you think he's going to want to go about this year? Go with the top OC job or go with a bad head coaching job?
See, if you're talking Cleveland or Tennessee, I think offensive coordinator makes more sense for him. If you're talking Baltimore, if you're talking Pittsburgh, if you're talking a team that has a real structure in place where they're not a bum organization, then I think that makes some sense.
Pittsburgh and Baltimore, Tampa has a coach now. Atlanta, maybe. There's probably three jobs, right?
Atlanta, I think, would be good.
Atlanta.
Now, here's my pushback from an Eagles perspective on for Mike McDaniel. If you're going to go the route of, all right, let's rehabilitate and go offensive coordinator, and wait for my next opportunity. If you're going to go that route, why go to Philly? 2 of the last 3 coordinators have been fired. Offense has been an unproductive passing game. Now, maybe he looks at it as, boy, if I turn that passing game around, I'll really be coveted, especially with the new wave of quarterbacks coming in. So there's advantages. But I also think it's a big risk because if you don't elevate us from the 29th passing game, which Kellen Moore couldn't even do, he had the number 1 passing game in Dallas. Isn't that a risk? If you fall flat as a coordinator, now you've fallen as a head coach and a coordinator.
I would take the Tampa job. You know why? The head coach is on thin ice.
Yeah, well, they're not going to – I doubt that they would fire the coach and then elevate him. How often does that happen? That doesn't happen that often.
I've never seen it, actually.
Yeah, like it would more be that they would hire from outside the organization. They're not going to hire the coordinator that was fired in the year that the head coach was fired. At least I don't think they would.
They
so
would
I don't know.
yeah.
It's an interesting spot here. It's an interesting spot. By the way, you jumped right into it, which is all good. First football Friday in a while.
How you feeling about that without the Eagles? How you feeling about it?
Yeah, it sucks because
it's disappointing.
It's not today.
It's disappointing.
It's not today where it hurts. We still got playoff football. We got the Natty on Monday. It's a couple weeks from now when you're like, man, if only we got to see a couple more games of the Philadelphia. Now, here's the other side of it. That was a miserable team to watch this year. I mean, we all this city collectively lied to themselves about how much we enjoyed watching the Eagles this year. It was a brutal season to watch. Every family event I attended this year, the main topic was, boy, what's wrong with the Eagles?
What's wrong with their offense?
What's wrong with their offense? So they were tortured, but I'd like to see some more football always because it's not that long of the year, man.
Right.
I'm not a TV guy. I'm not a movie guy.
I'm not either.
Like, I watch football.
Yep.
And even I used to be such a basketball guy. I don't watch NBA like I used to.
I'm a sports guy too.
I watch Sixers probably every other game right now, so I'll probably ramp that back up in the offseason here. But yeah, not a big TV or movie guy. Maybe I'll rewatch like The Lord of the Rings. I just saw that hit theater again.
My God. All right, here. How about this one? What about that report out there from Mike Silver that Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and a lot of people in the organization are reluctant to criticize the quarterback? Do you buy it? Do you think there's something to it? Or do you think there's maybe a little? What level do you think that is something that, we've heard sprinkles of that. We heard didn't Covey say something a couple of years ago about, how sometimes he's a little hard to get to and talk to, and his accessibility and how he talks to people, this and that, and how people talk to him. He's not really accessible all that much. How do you take that column from Mike Silver?
Well, I think it's true, is what I think.
Huh.
That's what it is. That's what it seems to me. Like, it seems to me that everybody walks on eggshells, even inside the building, on Jalen. And I'm not saying they have to come out and like blame Jalen, but to sit here and act like he's not a part of the offense to me is naive, And I don't think they're naive to it, but I think there's a lot of complex parts to it, and I think that report makes sense. It makes sense. I can't confirm whether it's true. I mean, I don't have the information, but it seems like it's true to me. I mean, it goes in line with John's comment earlier in the year about him being aloof. It goes in line with Jeff McClain's reporting earlier in the year about, how the quarterback is perceived in the locker room. And, who knows? Who knows if it's real or not? But I don't know. The other thing about this organization is they've always had a problem with not problem, but to me, it always seems like they shy away from the alpha athlete. They look for more, not always, but I mean, they look for more guys that are going to, buy into the They don't like a guy like a George Pickens or like somebody that's, loud, and
okay.
AJ is like not loud, but this year is the first year I've seen him ruffle feathers like that. So I wonder what's going to happen there. So, but I think Jalen is kind of has that personality of like, not that he's unapproachable, but I don't know if they're going to go and tell him like, yeah, you're not doing a good job. I don't know if they're not at all. Who knows, man? Yeah, CJ, perfect example. CJ Gardner-Johnson. That's the perfect example in recent. So I don't know. Maybe they walk on eggshells around a player like that. He's the one who's got the sponsorship deals. He became the face. He's the one that's got the viral social media clips. He's the one that everybody, that everybody has kind of bought into, that everybody defends, in the fan base. And I feel like they're maybe bought into that too. I'm not saying they have to not be, but I just think it'd be nice. If they're not looking at things honestly, then what are you doing? Are you running a hobby or are you running a business? Jeffrey Lurie's always been business. When Carson Wentz failed, boom, he was out. Done.
If you can't be open with people, that's the number one form of communication is being honest. If you can't be honest and open, that's not a culture I want to be involved with. I know I'm told they have a great culture.
But look, I mean, let's also call a spade here. This is not the first time this would have happened in football. Quarterbacks are the face of organizations. They're the face of teams. They're the big man on campus.
Right.
That's true in high school when the high school quarterback's got, walks around the school like he's got more swagger than everybody else. I mean, that's, so that's part of it. But it's not on Jalen for them. By the way, this isn't a Jalen thing. It's not on Jalen.
It's an organizational thing.
Yeah, it's not on Jalen is not the one who has to make sure he's held accountable by the coaches. That's the coach's job. If the GM has a problem, that's the general manager's job. If the locker room looks at it as a disconnect, to me, that's not Jalen. That's on the organization.
Yeah.
Why are you making a receiver who is clearly seeing the offensive problems? Like, you're making him go crazy because he's looking and he's like, well, I see these problems. And the people who run the show are acting like those very problems don't exist or it's everything else. It's like a smoke screen. It's like a smoke screen. Yeah. The organization wants you to look, it's over here. Look at Patullo. Look at that. Kind of a pussyfoot mentality, in my opinion.
I hate that too, by the way.
Be responsible for what look, and here's the other thing. Jalen has always been, to me, one of my favorite things about the guy. He's a true professional. If you go to Jalen and say what your problem or why you think things are, to me, I think Jalen would take that in stride and work to get better and say, all right, let's do it. What do I have to do to be successful?
I agree.
What do you want me to do to be successful?
I agree.
So I view it as completely a failure of the coach, if it's true.
I think it's communication. I think it's communication, Z.
Yeah,
I do.
Front office. It's,
That's right. Don't you think that organization has always kind of fumbled the ball when it comes to communication? Don't you think that's been one of their kind of like, their kryptonites has been that those guys have a little bit of issues when it comes to communicating with players?
Yeah.
They couldn't communicate with Wentz at the end. That whole communication fell apart there.
Yeah, but they didn't walk on eggshells on Wentz. But here's the difference. This is the difference. You ready?
Maybe they learned.
Huh?
Maybe they learned from the Wentz.
No. This is the difference. Doug Peterson had balls. So when Carson Wentz played like shit, he went to the bench. And Jalen Hurts, the rookie quarterback, trotted in for the last 4 games. Would this organization ever do that?
No.
Right now?
No
Would
way.
Nick Sirianni ever have the balls to do that?
No. No way. It's funny. I brought something up that's wild, and I know that a lot of people were looking at when I said it, but I mean, I think the perfect offensive coordinator in Philadelphia is Doug Peterson. And I think Doug, Frank, and you put Foles in there as the quarterback coach. And if you're Nick, hey, Nick, aren't you looking for the best quality people around your team as possible? Hiring a guy, at least if I'm hiring a guy,
yeah.
No, wait. No, I know what you're going to say, and you're right. But watch this. At least if I have a guy in the room won a Super Bowl, I got a guy in the room who was 35-33, and Mike McDaniel. At least the guy won a Super Bowl, but they won't do it because you're right. That's out of the box thinking. That's doing what's best for your team. That's doing what's best for your quarterback.
Right.
You're right. You got to do what's best for how they see things. And
you would hope that they would see it like that. I mean, shouldn't
right.
That's not rocket science here.
All right. How about this? Is Jalen Hurts' future more on the line in 2026 than Nick Sirianni's?
More on the line now. Is there more pressure there? Potentially. But if you buy into the report today from Mike Silver, then no, it's Nick.
Or how about the Athletics saying that the Eagles may want to try to get a quarterback in early rounds
Well, but that doesn't surprise. Like, that's Eagle business. It is.
If I drafted a quarterback in the 3rd round and my QB was 27, 28 years old.
They did it to Carson Wentz. What's the difference?
Okay. So then they're beginning a transition one day. If you're drafting somebody in the 2nd or 3rd.
A couple years ago, this was widely understood. It used to be maximize Jalen for the window you have, and we know the window's not as long with a dual threat. Now it's shifted to everybody wants the window to be longer. That's why I've been saying this summer. The number one thing this summer to me is Jalen a dual threat quarterback again, or is he not? If he's no longer a dual threat quarterback, we got a whole different conversation. The shelf life isn't as long, So who knows? Who knows what they're going to do here?
Okay. Here's another one for you. Why is A.J. Brown miserable? Is it the passing game or the passer?
So this is tough for me because I think my gut instinct is it's the passer, but there's data that indicates I'm wrong. Because I would say
he's had opportunity to have it teed up and tee off on him, and he's never done it.
Well, no, it's not even that, because I don't think he would do that anyway. This is what I would surmise to you from AJ's perspective. Athletes are driven people, obviously, to reach the top of their craft the way that they have. 1% of the 1% of the 1% make it to the NFL. Okay. And then to be one of the best in the NFL, that's, another 1% of the next 1%. Okay. So these guys have a great drive and a great sense of pride. And that's very normal. Okay. Most successful men in life, women in life, anybody in life has a great sense of pride. Sometimes it can be a downfall, but it's generally pretty normal and healthy to have a sense of pride. If you're AJ Brown and you believe you were a Hall of Fame caliber player, the last 2 years on his resume are a shit stain. A guy like Jason Cole is going to look at that and say, you're a good player. You're not a Hall of Fame player. You had 70 catches in your 28-year-old season, and you didn't miss it. You're not a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
So AJ looks at that, and that's what I think AJ cares about. But you look at 21 and 22, or 22 and 23, excuse me. Or no, 21 and 22, whatever it was. Whatever AJ's first 2 years were. He had damn near 1,500 yards a year and was all pro. So that was the same passer. And those are the type of seasons you got to put up for going to the Hall of Fame. So on one hand, I got 2 years of data that shows that he got the production he needed to be a Hall of Fame player that he rightfully believes he is. And then I have 2 years of data after where the production has dwindled, the passing game has dwindled. There hasn't been any sign in the last couple of years of it going in the right direction or the other direction. AJ's numbers are down, his production is down, and his Hall of Fame chances are lower than ever. Is that because they switched the offensive scheme? Is it because the quarterback is regressing? I mean, I think it's fair to say Jalen has regressed since 22.
Now, is that because the coaching has been bad? Or is that
right?
because
this is what I don't know. This is where you're at.
Like the chicken and the egg stuff here, isn't it?
Yeah. But don't you agree? Like, it's not like we can say AJ's never gotten numbers with Philly. He did. He got good-ass numbers.
Dude, he was
an all-pro with Jalen Hurts.
He got $3,000 in 2 years.
Right. I'm conflicted. That's why I said that my initial answer to your question was I'm conflicted.
So he's pissed then that they changed away from him. Do you think this, on what Kurt Warner said on our program, do you think he got pissed off because at one time he was the focal point of the offensive approach and now he's not? And that's his big crux, is that, hey, the game plan don't go through him anymore. The game plan goes through Barkley. The last 2 years, whether it's successful or not, it's gone through Barkley.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think that's
this is what you were saying that I honestly didn't think. Well, I thought about it, but I thought it was a Sileo. I thought it was a Sileo-ism, looking for some shit to shit on. But you're right though. That's like the number one thing this is directly tied to. When Saquon showed up, that's when AJ's numbers fell off a cliff. That's when he stopped having the Hall of Fame years. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll find out. Well, maybe we will find out. Maybe we won't find out. Maybe they'll just put us on this hamster wheel for the next couple of
No,
years.
no, no. I'm going to tell you how we're going to find out. If Jeff Stoutland is still here as your offensive line coach, they ain't doing shit. If they move off of Jeff Stoutland, that OC's coming in and he's got complete autonomy, bringing his own coaching staff in.
See, do you think that's a smart move?
I didn't say that was smart.
Well, that's what I'm asking you if you think.
Okay. Do I think that's smart? I think that's risky.
Me too.
That's risky. But that's what happens, Xander. That's the word autonomy means to me with a Mike McDaniel or a Kevin Stefanski or a Cliff Kingsbury.
I've been saying this, and people don't.
You don't bring in a coordinator, Xander, and go like this. I'm keeping your assistant coaches.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do my way. That's not how that works.
I don't know, man. Another thing I'm conflicted on a lot about this team. It's just the reality of it. Another thing that I keep saying with Nick Sirianni here is I know everybody loves to rag on Nick because he's easy to rag on. I mean, he presents himself like the way he does. He's a fool on the sidelines. Yeah, I get it. He doesn't call the off. There's a lot of shit there, but I continue to wonder if Nick Sirianni made the smart decision to play football the way we do with Jalen Hurts. When they try and throw the ball 30 times a game, you end up with the Chargers game. You end up with the first 4 games last year. You end up with 2023. You end up with turnovers galore. They were 2-2 in the first 4 games last year. They lost to the Chargers this year. Like, I know Nick seems a fool sometimes. There's a small chance he's right, guys. And it doesn't matter what we think of the offense.
I think there's a big chance he's right. Look at the record.
But this is what I don't get you. I mean, you say every day that you don't that he's a bus rider. How can you criticize Nick and then say that he's right?
Because he's not he has no answers when that system doesn't work. He's more about system and style of play than he is about being.
All right, but
he's not a play calling coach because you know why? I watched a play calling coach with a JV team kick his ass when those margins were small.
All right, let's walk through that though.
Okay.
So we all come to the conclusion that they play the offense the way they do because of the quarterback, right?
Correct.
And your gripe is when that doesn't work, he doesn't have the answers.
Correct.
Do you see where I'm going, though, that you're shifting off of why they play that way? Perhaps it's because
I never thought the quarterback.
Perhaps it's because the answers, though, they can't put them in because they don't have the volume passer.
Correct. I've said that since day one.
So how's that on Nick?
It's not. It's on the organization. That's what they've chosen to do. When
I struggle with
when your players aren't playing great all-pro football. My comments about your roster always being such a dominant.
Yeah, roster. But you call Nick a caboose. You're distracted from what I'm saying.
Okay, no. Okay, well, no. I say this: that guy is a product of the environment of the players that are in that system. If you put that same system in New York with the Jets, he'd win 2 games. If you put that system with Los Angeles,
he wouldn't. No, because he wouldn't run that system with a different quarterback.
How do you know that?
Because he didn't want to when he came here. They started 2-5. Jalen Hurts threw the ball over the place.
Okay, you're saying putting something in place like that makes him a good coach. I'm saying something. Okay, what are you saying? Because I don't want to.
You're right. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, you're saying because look at a quarterback. I got to play like this. Okay. Well, if you lose an O-lineman, you lose a receiver, a guy's injured at center, that's going to derail your entire operation. I watched Kyle Shanahan lose an entire football team, and it doesn't derail that guy. He goes out and coaches your pants off.
But why, bro?
Because he's a better coach and he's an actual.
No. I disagree vehemently.
He has answers, though.
When the centers don't play,
he's got an answer to Kittle being out.
Because there's wait. There's more answers. There's more answers available to him.
Who?
Kyle.
Why?
Because they have a different style of quarterback. Wait,
because they have a different coach.
When the center doesn't play good in Philly, when the left guard doesn't play good in Philly, when Saquon Barkley averages 3.2 a carry, Why does Nick Sirianni have no answers? Because they cannot start volume passing.
Okay. He's a product of Howie's roster.
Dude, you're talking out of both sides.
No. Howie builds the roster. Nick goes, Howie, this is how we're going to run because we have great talent. I think they win in spite of the coaching.
And the quarterback?
Yeah. Because when those answers have to be answered, they can't answer it. Dude.
This is where I can't buy. Somebody's got to be smart. Nick or Jalen. One of them has to be smart.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me ask you this. So if A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and your whole O-line and everybody doesn't play, does Nick have answers for that team to win ball games? Kyle does.
The quarterback, though, is limited in that he cannot play. He needs a great running game. So if the running game isn't great on a given Sunday, the offense looks like shit and they don't move the ball.
I thought Purdy was a system quarterback.
Hey, you're talking to the wrong guy. I think Brock Purdy's awesome.
I happen to do too because he threatens the middle of the field more than anybody gives him credit for.
There's the answer to your test, though, Sileo.
But Xander, that guy has the answers to the test. Nick doesn't. You know what his answers are? Go get me Jalen Phillips and go get me somebody like Saquon Barkley to make my offense better.
They can't change the way they play offense. So if the running game, this is why John used to say, the margin for errors like this.
Because he's not a guy with answers. He's a product of Howie building the roster. And if the roster's not good, he has no answers for it. Has none. Dude, you can't beat San Francisco with a practice squad roster.
If you don't have the right tools in the shed, Sileo, don't matter.
I watched the guy not have the right tools in the shed in San Fran. And guess what? That guy may be
playing. You're leaving out the crux point.
What's that?
The quarterback.
Wait, I saw him take Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You think even with Jalen's limitations, Nick Sirianni should be able to get more out of him on a given Sunday when things aren't working?
I think other coaches could get more out of him.
I do too. I definitely think
you think Shane could get more out of him than what? How about this? Do you think let me get a guy. Do you think Joe Brady could get more out of Jalen Hurts than Nick Sirianni? He got more out of Josh Allen, cut the turnovers over.
All right,
made that guy an MVP.
Did Kellen Moore get more out of Jalen?
No. You know what he did? He went to Barkley. He limited him. He cut his pass.
Tyson, on the other hand, did get more out of Jalen.
Completely. Perfect coach.
But different version of Jalen. Jalen doesn't run the ball like that anymore.
Okay. You not agree Jalen Hurts played his best Super Bowl in the year with Shane?
Oh, yeah. He was fucking electric in that game.
That
was one of the best performances.
Was he not electric all year? By the way, I saw him throwing balls out of bounds when there were bad plays. I saw him go in the right. How many times did you and I say this? God dang it, does that guy break backs on third down? I ain't seen that in about 4 years that he's not broken backs on third down. Occasionally you'll see that.
And then wait. You just said such a key thing. And then what did the Eagles struggle with the most this year?
Quarterback, third down.
Third down. Perhaps the player is different today than he was in 21 and 22.
We always said that this was not a high ceiling for this guy.
Well, we also said it was a shorter window, and now that the window's closing, everybody wants to open it back up and doesn't want to accept the reality. I actually don't think we're there yet. I think we got to see. But we're not trending in the right direction with the running. You know, him not running anymore, way less, and the report that he doesn't want to run anymore. You know, that's the Nick Sirianni spin of, he'll do anything it takes to win. Well, that's not really true. He doesn't want to run. You know, it's just the reality right now. Everybody,
San Francisco might get to if Sam Darnold is hurt and he can't play, and San Francisco wins that game, and they get to the NFC Championship game. Let's hypothetically do this: if the Rams get knocked off, Chicago and San Francisco could be playing for the NFC Championship game in Chicago. And you just might see the 49ers in the Super Bowl. With that roster. That's coaching.
Coaching. And
a quarterback that knows what he's doing.
Look, there's a reason everybody in the NFL, 31 out of 32 teams, legitimately, 31 out of 32 teams want to be able to pass the ball well. That's not a coincidence. That's because it gives you the biggest margin for error in the game of football, and there's a lot of error in football. Like Sileo said, some days your center sucks and he's making $18 million. One year your running back can't get yards. One day your right tackle misses, gets hurt and misses the rest of the season. These are things that happen every single year. When you have the style of offense that you need, you can make up for those changes more easily than when you're limited to not being able to pass the ball 30 times. It's the NFL, dude.
Let me ask you just, I don't know if I've ever really asked you this. You think Nick's a good coach?
Sirianni?
Yep.
I do.
Okay. What's your definition of good coach?
That's a good question. And obviously varies so greatly. That's why it's a good question, because in some areas you have coaches that are completely different. You have John Harbaugh, who is the hottest name on the market. He coaches completely different than Kyle Shanahan, who we just talked about. Me personally, I tend to gravitate toward the guys that have great discipline, great maturity. Mike Tomlin, Mike Vrabel, Harbaugh I like a little bit more. I like that coach. But I also understand why teams try and get the great offensive mind. My favorite coach right now is probably Kyle, because I think he's gotten better at that while also still giving you the advantage over every single play call. The other part about Kyle is this is now a long time he's been the best offensive mind in football. Abe, you're right. I always say I think Sirianni is a good coach. He's not my style. How many times have I said that, Sileo?
Yeah.
I think he's a great coach. He's not my style. It's not what I would choose to lead my organization. But I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not a reason that they've had success. A lot of success. A great level of success. Same thing we said about Jalen Hurts. But players change. Players have a shorter shelf life than coaches. In terms of a coach can be a coach for 50 years until you're 70 years old. A player is limited to his athletic ability, and his skill set.
Can I give you my definition of what a great coach is?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Empowering.
It's a great word.
Empowering. And I mean empowering because I was a part of this. My head football coach, Jimmy Johnson, never got in the way on game day situations ever in a million years would he ever. But that thing failed. I'll tell you what, we didn't have dinners getting on airplanes going back. We had come to Jesus conversations on Monday as a staff and as a team. And that guy all week long was a Tasmanian devil the entire week if we failed. Monday or Saturday would come, Sunday would come. He'd build your ass. He'd rip you a new one till Wednesday and then build you back up by Friday and give you another shot at the bite of the apple. And he would empower his coaches. He got more pissed off at his assistant coaches than he did his players because it's your job to make those guys better.
I agree. That's a really great look at your way of looking at coaching.
He said it's your job to make that guy better. And if you can't, I'm getting rid of you and him. And that's how Jimmy coached. Dude, the guy people see on TV, that ain't the same dude. That guy had a sense of urgency.
So what do you like?
Super Bowls or not?
So this is where I struggle because you can't have it both ways. Like Prince, I'll go to you. You're consistent. Stephen Paparo in the chat or Theo or Catch. These are people that say consistently, and I don't want to speak for you guys. Maybe I got it wrong. I don't know. People are out there, though, who think Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback. And then they also criticize and say Nick Sirianni is not a great coach. And to me, if you don't think Jalen Hurts is even a top 10 quarterback and they've had this level of success, in my opinion, the only way to get that is to have a good head coach because that's getting the most out of your talent.
Oh, I think Hurts is a better player than Nick's a coach. I do think that.
Yeah, but he does have limitations that are
I know
hard
he
to
does,
coach
but he
around.
works around them and wins around them.
Harder to coach around those in the NFL.
I'll tell you what, that guy's had more success on the playing field, and I've seen Nick have less answers because of 23 and 25. That guy's had more failures than what Jalen's had.
Dude, it's hard to have answers, man. I'm telling you.
Hold on. Do you not agree?
Look how I pass the ball, dude. It's hard to have answers.
Okay. You know why Kyle Shanahan, in my opinion? Kyle Shanahan's problem is control. He likes control too much and not empowering. He doesn't empower enough of his offensive coaches that, guess what? That's why when there's a 2-minute drill with 2 minutes left in the game or 2 minutes into a half, that guy's got Andy Reid-itis. He still has that, dude. And I think he struggles with that.
I hear you. And look, I say it all the time. Nick is not my style. I get it. I think he's been very successful, and it's hard to look past that. You know, I see people already saying it's pathetic. I'm glazing Nick.
I do have a little Jalenite in me. I do. I listen. I said this on February 10th of 2025. You cannot dispute the dude's success in college and in the pro.
You can't. I agree. You cannot.
There's no getting around that resume, man.
Yeah, but the player.
But he gets around his abilities.
To
build that.
And the abilities are changing, Sills, which is where I think it's getting a little harder.
Bit. Yes.
So I don't know. We're gonna see. I think I do think that. Remember, this is also a town that is not particularly nice to coaches. Okay, it's not. Sometimes they're right.
I think it's an accountability season.
It's also set from the GM and the owner. Remember, they're the ones who make people think that coaches are stiffs because Doug Peterson wins a Super Bowl and they fire him and say, you're not allowed to have your assistant. It's up to me. And now they've done the same thing to Nick Sirianni, and it looks a lot different this time because Nick Sirianni lays down and lets him do it, lets him roll over him because he's political, wants to keep his job, has a wife and kids, and I understand it. But it's a different look. So that's where I'm also like, This is a city and a team that loves to make the coach the scapegoat, the offensive coordinator is the scapegoat. Passing game sucked for 3 years. Jason Kelsey said that on his podcast this week. He literally said our passing game has been weak for 3 years, not 2 years, 3 years. 3 years is what he said.
Well, thanks, Jace. We've known that, you and I.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Everybody says it's all Patullo.
Hey, guys.
Patullo sucked. Everybody else sucked.
We're going to read all your supers here. And by the way, we're almost at about 950 on all the platforms. We appreciate you guys being in here. We really do. Please hit the like button if you can here also. All right, Xander. Why? We're going to read those in a minute, too. Mike Nort's going to join us, and then also the Godfather at 5:30. Why is the Eagle OC job a good job? Maybe you don't think it is, but why is the Eagle OC job a good job?
It's a good job because they're a great team. They're a great organization. They have great level of success, arguably the most success in football in the last 5 years. Obviously been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years, but it's the boom or bust team. This is what this era of the Eagles is becoming. I hope everybody's seeing that. It's boom or bust. It's micro boom or bust in that they play the best half of football in the first half and the worst half of football you've ever seen in the second half. It's boom or bust in that you have a perfect passer rating versus Minnesota and you have 5 turnovers versus the Chargers. It's boom or bust in that you go to the Super Bowl in 23 and you collapse in 23 and 25 and you win in 24. This is the boom or bust era of the Eagles, and that means risk.
Okay. So is this OC job better for a coach or a player?
What do you mean?
Okay.
What do you mean, a coach or a player?
I'm going to tell you. Do you think that if a coach comes in here that this is a really great job for an offensive coordinator to come in here and coach this team? And if you say we're a free agent wide receiver and you wanted to come into this style.
You're not coming in here. You're not coming here.
So this system is set up for the coaches to be better and excel or fail than it is for the players, because the players, quite frankly, are really not going to excel in this offense because you may get your numbers, but the offense is going to be 25th. So it's better for the coach.
Better for the coach, for sure.
So that benefits Nick.
Well, yeah, but I mean this is the style.
So you're building the offense around Nick, not around when you were building it around what Nick wants.
I get you.
You're building around what Nick wants, not what Jalen and the players want.
Well, dude, I think
that's why he's pitching.
To me, you're leaving out though a big part of it. I mean,
well, why is AJ
so do you
pitching?
think Nick should do so? Okay, Nick
Why is
Sirianni.
AJ miserable then? He
So
gets numbers.
you think Nick Sirianni should put an offense out there and let Kellen Moore run his offense?
No, I don't think you guys can sign just anybody. You got to get
Can't
people.
have your cake and eat, can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean,
I know.
So,
how can you have a disgruntled player when you're 50 and 18? Don't you find that odd? It's
who else can you apply that to though? Why does AJ care
I've
less
heard one bitch this year about the offense.
Why does AJ care less about the record and more about the numbers than Jalen Hurts?
He cares about his legacy.
Jalen Hurts could throw for $2,900 a year, and if he wins multiple Super Bowls, he'll be enshrined in Canton. AJ will not. The quarterback, my point is, the quarterback is a direct beneficiary of these things as well. And you can't act like that doesn't exist.
And he's also a direct beneficiary of how the head coach wants the offense to go because of the limitations that he has and not the exceptional talents that, say, someone like a Kenny Gainwell has. Kenny Gainwell goes to Pittsburgh and you see his skill set utilized more. You know that he wasn't utilized correctly in Philly, right?
Absolutely wasn't.
Okay.
But that's the way they play offense.
You know what the problem is here? Winning is not superseding reality. The reality of it is that you're winning ball games, and the reality is people want to see something different and want it to look better.
I don't think it's that. I think it's we're winning by the seat, winning on the edge of our seat, and at any point that edge could break.
Did you feel you were winning at the edge of your seat last year? I didn't. I think you were murdering teams.
No, but you were in that it was a small margin for error. If you lost an offensive lineman in that year, would they have went on to win the Super Bowl? No, they struggled to pass the ball.
Probably not.
So I'm just saying your margin for error is tight. And now my concern is AJ is getting older. This is year 7, guy. Feels like yesterday Jalen Hurts got drafted. This is year 7. Time flies. It really does. But year 7, I mean, that's pretty old. How long who are some of the best like dual threat quarterbacks who are around for a long time? How long were their careers?
9 years.
Is that what it is?
Well, unless you're 6'7" like Cam. But Cam fell apart.
How long was Cam's career?
I think 13 years.
Yeah. How long was his career effective?
Probably 7.
Let's look. He played 11 years. His last 3 years, he did nothing. Nothing good. He threw for 4,000 yards 1 year of his career, his rookie year.
Went to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah. Yep. Obviously.
Okay. If you look at Vic had the 5 or 4 years in jail, and then you had early Vic. But look at later,
35 touchdowns in 2015.
Oh,
Cam Newton.
Okay.
Jalen and Cam are different players.
Oh yeah. Oh, Cam Newton's a superior player talent-wise. Cam's a superior. Cam's one of the better players to ever play in the league, and the history of the league. That guy.
Catch says 17 yards of offense and a half. We'll never forget Hurts or Sirianni for that. Wait, Catch, didn't they have 0 one game this year? In a half? I thought they had like 0 or -2 one game.
Was that the Buck game?
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, it was like the Buck game.
I thought they had less than 17 was
I'll get asked
the bottom 3 half, but it wasn't the worst half they had all year.
All right, let me go here on Saturday. Hey, does Allen get it done in Denver?
Pass rush is vicious. It all comes down to that pass rush for me. But yeah, I think he does. I think they win the game.
Niners. Now, oblique injury to Darnold.
Sorry, Hollywood. I've been gassing the Niners up for quite a bit. I've been saying that people are sleeping on how good that squad is.
It's gonna end.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to pick against you this week. I think the Seahawks at home get the job done. I will say this. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. And if the Niners win, I will not be on this show surprised on Monday. Not one bit. I will not be surprised. But I will take for my pick, I'll take the Seahawks.
I do too. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to host the NFC Championship game. Sunday games. Dome team Houston and Butterfingers Stroud.
He stinks.
Going to
CJ Stroud, he absolutely stinks.
Going to Gillette and Vrabel in May in Foxborough, and it's snowing up there too. And you got
give it to Patriots. It's all about that. If that defense can hold them to, they got like an Eagles situation on steroids. They needed them to hold them to like 8 points. If the defense can hold them, we'll see. But Texans defense is good, but give me Drake May and the Pats.
And here's this one. We're going to get Mike North on here in a couple minutes. The Los Angeles Rams go into Soldier Field in Chicago. Snowy and miserable wind. Coming off Lake Michigan. 4.5 points. Things falling a little bit here. Rams or Bears for the
this is the
NFC Championship game.
So my reason has gone out the window with this game, and I'll explain to you why. But let me just say, the Bears have been my sweetheart team since last summer.
All right, your argument with John?
For the Bears 365 listeners, I had 5 or 6 arguments with John in the summer about the Bears. I thought they were coming alive. I love Ben Johnson. I loved Ben Johnson when he was in Detroit. I loved when he stiffed it to the teams who wanted to hire him. He's like, nah, I need more than $15 million. Everyone's like, you haven't coached a game in your life. You're a conceited prick. He knew what he was about to do. And I've liked the Bears for a long time. I'm picking the Rams in this game, and it's not because I think, they're just way better. I have a human reason I'm picking the Rams, and it's kind of a load of baloney, but I believe in it. Pat Callahan, the great host of This Week in Pro Football, passed away this year. He died a very quick death from pancreatic cancer. He was diagnosed about 6 months. It took 6 months, start to finish. He was done. Pat also lost a son last year. Now his wife has one son left. Her husband and her other son have passed away in the last year. Pat was a diehard Rams fan.
God forbid. And
we used to debate before his show all the time. The Eagles and the Rams and the better team and Jalen and Stafford and Nick and McVay. And I said when he passed away, I said, I think the Rams are going to go on and win it this year for Pat Callahan. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Rams to go all the way and win the Super Bowl. And I know Eagle fans don't want to see that because they don't like the Rams. But at the very least, I'll be happy for my boy Pat Callahan up in heaven that the Rams got the win.
Wait, wasn't he on as long? He's been on as long as I've been on with you guys.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't a full-time sports talk guy, but he had a show in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no. But I mean, he had a show weekly on it.
McManus used to do it with.
Yeah.
Antonio on every week.
Yeah. So yeah, how did you guys know him? Because I know the name. I don't
know how we connected with Pat. Pat really liked what we were doing digital, and he wanted to get away from the radio.
Because he was a radio guy.
But they were charging him an arm and a leg to produce a show and to put it on the air. He wanted it to live, and he liked that it could live longer.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually a good thing. His wife has reached out to us and said that she loves that the shows are on our channel.
Good.
Because that's right. No, but that they live forever now.
Right. I thought you Krauses were bad guys.
No. But no, I love Pat. So that was my thought there, and I think the Rams go the distance, brother.
You know what? I was going to go Bears, but now I'm going Rams. You talked me into it now for Pat. You did.
I think the Bears are going to be in this thing, though.
Dude.
Like that stat that
would you be shocked if the Chicago Bears beat the Rams in this game?
I personally want the Bears to win. I like the Bears. I like Caleb. I like Ben. I like what they're doing.
I would not be shocked if the Bears win this ball game.
No, I wouldn't be shocked. But I also don't be shocked at this. Like, a lot of people are bringing up the weather. The weather will be a factor. But don't sleep on Matt Stafford. All right, that guy can play. That guy dropped 350 on us in the playoffs. And
Devontae played in Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean they can. Puka Nacua had like 130 in that game in the snow last year.
And he played at BYU.
Yeah,
so we're not talking about guys.
I think the bigger factor there is not the snow or even the cold.
It's
the wind. It's going to be windy as hell. It's going to be supposed to be at the 40-mile-an-hour gust or 38-mile-an-hour gust.
But I think it's going to be the Rams' defense is going to be the bigger question going into that.
Yeah, can they stop the run?
Can they stop what the Bears are going to do? Absolutely. All right, Z, let's do these supers before Big Mike Norton. By the way, I watched him.
Hopefully, Mike, if you're listening, I did email you, and hopefully it doesn't go to spam. I don't know what the hell's been going on.
Man, I'll tell you what, man. Twitter was down earlier today. All kinds of crap was going on digitally. There's like all kind of cyber attacks going on right now.
Let me. You never sent me, Mike.
I didn't by accident. Sorry, no, too, Philly.
Oh, we got him. He's in the green room. All right,
cool. All right, good. All
right, let me read these supers. Let's go to our boy William Robinson first. He says, the system is fine. We needed better coaching, someone who knows how to set up a game versus calling plays. We wouldn't even be arguing it, i.e., where was Dylan? Why didn't Bigsby get more burn? Where was the misdirection, the flow, the setup? Agreed on the direction, the flow, the setup, but you're talking about A.J. Dillon and Tank Bigsby, dude, they're paying Saquon Barkley $20 million.
You pay him, you play him.
Yeah.
Stop with – this ain't high school football. Let's put the third team back in there and play him. You pay him, you play him.
The fans are calling for it. Here's William again. William, thanks for the supers, brother. Two big $20 super chats. Guys, if this is the same damn offense like many players said, Jalen's limitations withstanding, why in the F did we only use 30% of our plays in 25 if it wasn't coaching? These dudes may have liked Kevin, but ... Here he is again. Am I wrong, but does Jalen Hurts receivers have more yards than dual threat Lamar's receivers and Mark Andrews? Smitty and AJ average 1K. Yeah, but they're the only guys who get targets.
Right. That's why it's so predictable. They're the only ones, as Xander said, gets targets.
I mean, Jahan Dotson's a wide receiver 3. He gets like 200 yards a year.
Absolutely.
So, William, thanks for the big super chats, brother. Dude, I understand where you're coming from on the playbook. I don't know if they use 30%. They didn't use many plays last year either, dude. It just worked better.
Yeah, well, Xander, I'm going to use a right hand and a left hand when I'm knocking you out. I'm not really going to deviate off that, are you?
Here's Mikey. You guys hear that Caleb apparently wears a – oh, come on. I'm not joking. Paints fingernails, wears a butt plug. Yeah, don't put that on my show. I'm not talking about butt plugs on the show, dude.
No,
I'm not a Jalenite. I'm an Eagles fan since 80. Love it, dude.
Man card revoked on that one. Thank you.
Agreed. Ramir, Shannon, get me you and Dan open. Ramir, you're going to have to speak English if you want me to understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because that sounds dorky too.
Abe, will we hire an RPO OC? Will the quarterback run anymore, or is he done running? You tell me, Abe.
They're not hiring an RPO guy. That's not happening.
It wouldn't be wise. I mean, it would be wise to hire maybe someone that has experience with the dual threat.
Yeah, agreed. But they're not.
Here's Abe again. With the dual threat quarterback, aren't you going to use more run plays versus pass plays? More like scheme equals quarterback style. Kudos to AJ getting 1,300 with Jalen at quarterback. Abe, good comment. Scheme equals QB style. That's why Kyle Shanahan spends 3 first-round draft picks on Trey Lance and says, "Goodbye. I don't even care what I get back. Give me the last pick in the draft because he can process. That guy can process a defense. That guy gets the ball out on time." Trey Lance. Save that for the people who want to play offense.
38 starts at Iowa State too.
Yep, Purdy. That's right. It's a good point by you.
38 starts.
Says, if you are Jeffrey Lurie and A.J. Brown says he'll stay if Nick is gone, fired, would you make that call? No, because that's not what A.J. Brown's saying.
No. A.J. wants the offense to go through him.
You see the lengths that people go to try and blame everything on the coaches in Philly?
Of course.
Guys trying to make an ultimatum for A.J. to fire the coach. Sileo says, Sirianni let this team collapse 2 out of 3 years and had no answers for it. If you don't have answers as a head coach, then how the F do you still have a job? Well, Sileo, he also went to 2 bowls in 3 years. I mean, pick your poison, man.
It's the most, like John says all the time, it's the weirdest team of all time to cover. You're either a grand slam or you're a train wreck, which is crazy. And it's been that way. 2 of the last 3.
I said it. This is the boom or bust era of the Eagles.
Absolutely.
Here's the last one. Jimbo says, David Shaw, thoughts on him for OC? Yeah.
No. I like David Shaw, though.
I do too, but, I think you really need somebody. How much experience as an OC does David Shaw have?
I thought he was with the 49ers. And that's how we got that Stanford job.
I don't know. I got to look into it.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, Jimbo. Appreciate everybody for the super chats.
Damn, Xander, I'm not going to say this to you today. I'll see you on the pregame.
I know. Done. Mike
Done.
North still got another game.
He sure
Fucking
does.
well done by that football team. That is a good
Hey, you
story.
want to hear?
What, they have 4 wins last year?
Yeah, you know what though? You know this. You know what? I lived in it too for a long time. So before Mike goes out, he's got to put his hairpiece on and his galoshes on. You know the wind. He can't keep that hairpiece, man. What they see that wind blowing last night in O'Hare? Holy cow, man! Soldier Field's going to be very interesting. I think this weekend. Big Z, we'll catch you again, man. Thank you, brother.
Later, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, you got it, man. All right, that is our friend Xander Krause. All right. Don't forget, at 5:30, we got the legendary Philly Godfather joining us. Without further ado, so my boy Scott Kaplan, I don't know if Mike North knows Scott, okay? So Scott out of nowhere, he parachutes in because he's on the beaches of San Diego, and he goes, hey, Mike, how you done? Mike's up there. He's got his little puppy. I think there was something with him, and he's all bundled up and this and that. He's out there freezing. By the way, I've lived near Chicago, so I know them snowdrifts. Folks, snowdrifts in Chicago, roads get moved, okay? They get moved. They're like 10-foot snowdrifts when you live out west, okay? And I think this is going to be one of those snow games. I watched Sean Landeta one day in Chicago, I believe, before we get Mike in. I think Sean Landeta one day dropped a ball he was going to punt, and it was so windy in Chicago, he missed it because the wind blew off the track where he was going to kick the ball. Without further ado, the guy who has seen more football than Curly Lambeau himself and the legendary George Hallis, my friend Mike North, joins us right now, right here on the program. How you doing, brother?
My friend, I couldn't feel any better. It's good to see you. The Chicago Bears got to show the colors. We don't get to do that. Like, I had a buddy, he had sex with his wife 3 times and she got pregnant 3 times. You know what I'm saying? And basically, that's what the Bears have been in the playoffs. Do we have the longevity? I have no idea. But I do know this. To become a clutch quarterback like Caleb Williams, you have to fall behind for 3 quarters to come back. Okay? So this is a charmed existence. This is something that will never happen again. I don't believe Ben Johnson's message, Dan, to the team next year will be, listen, guys, we're going to do the same thing we did last year. Get behind 12-15 by about 3 minutes in the third quarter, then we'll come back because we'll never see them in the playoffs. So they got to improve, but they come up with turnovers, which, as you know, we had Bear teams in the early 2000s with Urlacher in them. And one year they'd go crazy with turnovers, and the next year it didn't happen. So then you're stuck with a defense that unless you get turnovers, you better be able to get stops. And that's why the Bears next year, no matter what they do this year, are a shoo-in to go in to the playoffs even, because this does not remind me yet of a building team completely, though they're on their way.
How about this, Mike? I've always thought that the turnover number was always fraudulent on how you evaluate a defense because it's hit or miss, as you just said.
Right.
I mean, you don't know tip balls. I mean, sometimes that's just situational lineup. So to me, whether
good coaching, and players listening and getting being able to get those 50-50 balls. But we've seen it happen with offenses and defense. Last year's great offense might be this year's bad offense. Last year's great defense may be this year's, well, where's the turnovers? Next year we could have 12 turnovers. Who knows? So we got to strike while the iron's hot, and I couldn't be any happier. Scott Kaplan, I do know. I've known Scotty for 30 years. He's been a talk show host in San Diego and now Los Angeles because they have 2 teams there. But he knows what he's been here. To Chicago, like you. And my dog is and he's not little. Don't take offense. He didn't mean nothing.
I've got a little dog.
But a 75-pounder, but he's boxer, pit bull, and he's got lab in him. Lovable dog, wouldn't hurt a fly. They have no hair. They're thin. He couldn't wait to come in. That's my point. The Rams are going to, and Scotty Kaplan said it best.
Dome team too.
Oh, absolutely. And here, Stafford, under 500 record in cold weather. I heard some misguided host today say, well, he played in the NFC North and, he put up all sorts of numbers. Wait, every game was in the dome except 2 on the road, Green Bay and the Bears. Minnesota has a dome, and Detroit, he played all this home games in domes or in 70-degree record. Now you're going to come here, and I'm hearing, they're going to win double digits. Let me tell you something. That's not going to happen, folks. That ain't happening because the Bears have been bitching. Ben Johnson made them practice. I'm not kidding. In some of the worst conditions. I was born in.
I think they're going to win.
I'm going to tell you right now. He had them practice in conditions that prior administrations would have put indoors.
That's what Belichick used to do, Mike.
Yeah.
He figures you're going to
play. Parcells.
Those guys, if they're going to play in outside weather like that, they're going to practice in outside weather like that. And that's why, listen, I got to tell you, man.
I feel good about I'm taking them.
Dude, I've played at that field, at Soldier Field.
Oh, it's brutal.
And get this, the snow and the rain don't bug you. It's that wind off the
wind
that gets you.
Here, 30% chance of precipitation, snow or rain, or both. Folks, you're not going to get the coverage anywhere else on this Bear game than on this show with this wonderful network sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Thank you.
All I'm going to tell you is that there's a 30% chance of precipitation, that it's 19 degrees at kickoff time with the wind 15 miles an hour, which is, as you know, you just said it, the trick, because Stafford won't be indoors. It will be like Peyton Manning going outdoors again. I'm not afraid of that many Rams. Deacon Jones ain't walking through that door.
No.
I see the Ram team, and I'm going, well, why has everybody got them losing to the Bears? They spot teams. And by the way, I heard the Green Bay defensive coordinator might be up for the Miami Dolphin job after.
Yeah, Chris Shula.
Yeah. Hadley is his name.
Green Bay,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Time out. That guy just gave up 25 points in the fourth quarter and one of the worst losses in the history. Like my guy says, Curly Lambeau and I talked numerous times, and he's never seen anything like what happened last week. It was wonderful.
All right, I got some news here for you, Mike, about your Bears. So did not practice was...
We're resting. We're in hibernation. We're sleeping.
McLeod limited was DK. Adunza was limited.
Adunze, please get it right.
Okay. Gardner Johnson was full practice.
Nobody's missing. It's the playoff.
Feel about the health heading into this game?
Huh?
How do you feel about the health of the team heading into this game?
I love it. Everything's worked out. Caleb Williams is once again, I'm still not sold on him completely. Don't forget.
Come on, Mike.
No, I'm sold on him for what he's done, but he's in the rankings. Like we just
wait. So let me go like this. You need to see more consistency in like a couple
That's all.
years.
Oh, look, okay. I'm not taking a look at. He's like I said, he's one of the best clutch quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Okay.
For what he's done.
Okay.
But if you need to win year by year,
sample size.
Here, I'll give you a perfect example. It's the quarterback rules. Brady was able to break records, Super Bowl 7, because he knew he couldn't get massacred. But I'm here to tell you, the best quarterback who ever played for the Chicago Bears was number 9, 1985. He just wasn't allowed to pass the football because
stay healthy.
Well, yes, but the reason he couldn't stay healthy wasn't because he was pulling up lame, or anything. He was getting massacred.
Play.
Yeah. He played. He didn't want to slide. There wasn't those rules back then. If they, and I think anybody that knows football, first of all, Jim McMahon broke 70 NCAA records passing the football.
Mike, he never played a full year of any time in his career based on one thing, because he was a gamer.
Right. And here's another thing. Caleb Williams will tell you this himself. He's got to hit. The reason we're falling behind is he ain't hitting the open man all the time. He's inconsistent.
58% completion.
Exactly. That's my point, Dan. Here's my deal. McMahon would be 65 to 70% on the passes that Caleb throws.
Great thrower of the ball.
Absolutely. That's my point. And Peyton would be the starter for this team. See, what I'm trying to say is the skill position players on the 85 team, because the reason I bring this up, somebody on Twitter said the athletes are better today. They're faster today. They're this and that today. I go, are you kidding me? Willie Galton ran a 4.340, and he was a top Olympic sprinter. He was the fastest guy the Bears might have ever had. Okay.
Okay, Mike. Well, let me ask you one thing, though. I'll compare that 85 team to this team. Don't you think this offensive coaches and the offensive head coach coaches this offense better than what you guys had?
Absolutely.
Had coaches.
Absolutely.
In 85.
I'll tell you what. But back then, that was the type of football. If you have Walter Payton.
It was running more with Peyton.
Yeah. But Jim McMahon was 46-15.
That's
because
right.
when he did play, I already wrote a W down most of the time because of him and the defense. But, somebody tried to say, look, the guys are bigger now. Yeah, but they're softer. Nobody, that Bear front five that we had in 85, they might have weighed average about 275, 280.
Yeah.
But Jimbo Covert, Lawrence Taylor never had a sack against Jimbo Covert. He weighed 250.
I always thought your teams were limited through Ed Hughes, though, your OC.
I agree.
I never thought they were really.
Micah Parsons weighs 240. Lawrence Taylor weighed 250. The game hasn't changed all that much. You put on 20 to 30 pounds on the lineman, period.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking you.
Bears.
Who do you think wins?
Bears. They're not coming here in this weather and getting away with what they've been getting. Look, you ask them, is the regular season important? Okay. And they'll tell you, yeah, well, we wish we weren't coming to Chicago because I think the Bears lose 31-17 if they play in LA. Here in Chicago, I think there's a chance they could win 19-18. You know what I'm saying? It's just you have to play a different style, Dan, if you can't throw the football in this weather. And those guys are never going to be colder than they are for a night game at Soldier Field at 6:30. And I'm not being a hype guy.
I'm getting cold.
Well, yeah.
Hey, dude, I've been in that when that wind.
It's the worst.
It's the worst.
There's boats actually. Wait,
Mike, you're beat before you even step on the field, because when you go out for stretching, you go out there and they go like this. It's 18 degrees, and you're like, all right, I played. I'm in Connecticut. Then when the wind, it's like it's -2, and you're like, holy cow, I'm freezing my doorknob.
When we were kids, we used to walk on the lake, right? We were out of our minds because it would be ice up, but we used to walk out on the pier. We used to walk out on the piers because we didn't have video games. We had to think up things, okay? So we became Admiral Birds. We said, well, let's walk out on the. So all I'm going to tell you is this. Folks, I'm not kidding. If you've never been to Soldier Field, there's actually boats docked 50 yards away from the stadium. The lake is like the ocean, and it's right there for you. And that's just like Wrigley Field's 4 blocks away. They decided we're going to build everything on the lakefront, and it just makes everything so much harder. It's the toughest place to play in the fourth quarter of any football game.
Mike, am I right? You got Lakeshore Drive there, right? Right? You got Lakeshore Drive near Soldier.
Yeah, because the lake used to run right up to that, up to the buildings.
Really? I didn't know that, right?
Yeah. They pushed it back, and then they built Lakeshore Drive. There used to be a place called the Edgewater Beach Hotel, which is on Sheridan Road, which is about a block from the lake, which actually at one time the lake was right up to the dock. That's why they called it the Edgewater Beach Hotel.
Like Lakeshore Drive and the Dan Ryan, right? Doesn't it cross over like that near Soldier Field like that?
There's the Dan Ryan, you get off the Ryan for an exit, then you end up on Lakeshore Drive. Yeah. And that's why, it's a great looking area. It's just not conducive on game day to go into a football game.
I tell you what, I know that city, and I love that city. And when you get a game like this, I mean, Rush Street must be just pounding right now. I mean, everybody must be going nuts there.
It's absolute. Well, we didn't expect it. Okay.
Wait. Are you shocked at the Eagles?
Absolutely.
I got knocked out of the wild
card.
Well,
no, first of all, I did bet San Francisco right here on the show and with the man. I don't go through the casinos, folks. They fix football games probably too. You know what I mean?
Who'd you bet with? Six Fingers Luigi?
Well, That's not his name, and just try to be nicer. You don't care if you have helmets on. No,
Ice Pick Reed. I got it. Okay.
that's right. Clubfoot Jones. Anyway,
Yeah.
listen. So I took the 49ers, and here's what I will tell you. Some of the best fun I've had doing radio in all my life. And it's the present day, folks. It's different. It's podcasting is better. It's you can be more real.
That's right.
I'm the same as I've always been, but this has been a lot of fun, and we're hopefully continue to do this for a long time.
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you, the last thing I thought was I was going to be in the playoffs and you were going to be out of the playoffs when we first met. I can't believe it. But I will also say this. Everything I said on this show is true. I love Hurts. He's a winner. It's not his fault that cancer-ridden A.J. Brown drops 3 footballs. And Sirianni, God bless you, my friend. You went up to him and said, why didn't you dive for that ball? Why didn't you extend? Why did you have alligator arms on the other one? And why didn't you catch the ball that was put perfectly above everybody else in the spot that you like it? And you know what? The guy gets offended. And he's been a cancer on this team. And they don't need him on that team. It's a good football team with good people. I think Devontae Smith is a great kid. I love Saquon Barkley. I love Jalen Hurts. I love Sirianni. It's a class football team. You got one stain that even Tide Bleach couldn't get out. And his name's A.J. Brown. And if Danny wants to echo this, I don't need tape. I said this the first day I met him on the air, that A.J. Brown was catching. Yet I got to hear the offensive coordinator with like 7 drops. It's his fault. And I go along with what Kelsey said. Jason Kelsey. The players lost this game. You can blame the offensive coordinator all you want. I'm the outsider that loves being inside with you guys. But I am more objective to this because I've seen plenty of bad football. I'm here to tell you, A.J. Brown has got to go. If you bring A.J. Brown's got to go. Receivers are a dime a dozen, folks. They're good all over the league. You don't need a pain in the ass. In the second quarter, trade him to another team, see what he does with them. Because I've seen the same act with Philadelphia. His name was Terrell Owens. Okay? Hi, what is it? Where's Tommy McDonald? Okay? Where are the guys that just catch the football, give the football back, and go, I'll be over here in case you need me. That's all.
All right, Mike, how about this here, man? Mike Tomlin's firing. How shocked were you? How about this one? Wait, hang on. Were you more shocked by the Tomlin retiring or the Harbaugh firing in Baltimore?
Well, I've been saying Harbaugh should go for 3 years. Okay. And this is hilarious what I'm hearing from all these talking heads. I don't know where they find these people that they're going to win the Super Bowl next year. This guy had Lamar Jackson for 2 years. He couldn't get out of his own way. He forgot 2 weeks ago in the New England game, Derrick Henry. That's like forgetting Bo Jackson or Walter Payton to play them on your team. And I'm hearing that, he's a Super Bowl quarterback. Okay, is there a statute of limitations? I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it's 2012. I get it, okay? And he's also a playoff losing coach. Why don't they add that on? So, to me, John Harbaugh should have been gone 2 to 3 years ago. He had the records were coming back. The record for losses in the fourth quarter that they were leading in double digits, he owns. Okay, since 1991. So he should have been gone 2 to 3 years ago. I said. Now, the other guy, I go so far back that I know I look good. Although I think Bobby Vinton might be jealous. They look him up on Wikipedia. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. 1961, the Green Bay Packers were 11-3. Detroit was 8-5 in second place. I want to tell all the Mike Tomlin ass kissers that guess what Detroit had to do? Go home. Because back in those days, you had 8 teams in each division, Eastern Conference, Western Conference. If you didn't finish in first, you were out.
That's
now,
right. Let's
go to present day. This is like an education. I should be on PBS.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this.
Sorry, wait a minute. PBS got canned because of Trump, so we're going to go somewhere else with that. But
I'll go on. Yeah, we'll go on Fox News after Jimmy Fallon. I know every damn station, every damn person. Hello, Rachel. Consider me for your time slot. Anyway, I don't have an agent. Now let's go to
You better call Musburger, but go ahead.
Yeah, let's go. Listen, Brent, I read him in the Chicago American before he even got a TV job. That's how old I am. Okay. My mother had sex in a covered wagon. Okay. Let's be honest. I'm proud. Here, I'll give you another thing. I'm proud. I am proud to be a boomer. Oh, somebody goes, "You're a boomer." I go, "God damn right. Damn right. What are you, a millennial? What is that, a flower? What? Right? Well, a boomer. I love being a boomer now.
I was born in a covered wagon on the way to Chicago from the Oregon Trail.
I was. The Wells Fargo, Dale Robertson delivered me.
Oh, my God.
All right. All I'm going to tell you is this. 2026. I lost my train of thought. What were we even talking about?
I don't know. You're somewhere. We're good.
No. Oh, no. Today now, you get to 2026, and everything has changed. I mean, from free agency to everything else. Back in the days, you won with the guys that you had, and now you can't. The New York Giants, that they didn't make the playoffs, are as bad as anybody else. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, they showed his record. I'm glad you had a winning record every year, but it doesn't matter in this day and age. You have to make the playoffs, and then if you make them, you have to win within 6 or 7 years. Okay? You cannot get away after 18, 19 years with that kind of record. I'm sorry. And for people that don't know, because everybody's afraid, look, I think Mike Tomlin could be the next Shaft. That's me. Okay? I think he could be the next Shaft. I really like him. I like the fact he threatens his players so much that they're going to win. I think he's a good coach. But he even knew, and yet I'm hearing from people, he never had a losing season. That don't matter. And you know what? They're going to go through hell for a couple of years, but they'll build it back. I got no doubt they're going to get it right. But Mike Tomlin and Harbaugh both, and all of a sudden they're both taking teams to Super Bowls now.
Mike,
right?
Mike. I just got a request. Somebody told me, somebody from Chicago, and somebody from what's that thing called? The Score?
Yeah.
Somebody from The Score just said, tell Mike North he needs to apologize to Kevin Warren. What's that about?
Oh, no, I don't have to apologize to Kevin Warren. He's not a football man. Okay, and he's the guy that screwed up
seriously, somebody just DM'd me.
Oh, no, that's great. I love it. I told him
they said that you're always railing on Kevin
I'm
Warren.
railing on. I've been railing on him all for 60 years.
By the
he's
way,
no different. I didn't rail on the McCaskies. I didn't rail on the McCaskies. What, just Kevin Warren? Are you kidding me? I railed on everybody, even Ditka. So I don't want to hear that crap.
About Ryan Poles.
Good job. And I thought he did a bad. I go by what I see. Caleb Williams was sacked 68 times last year, and he sucked. This year he's good. That's what I go by.
From Chicago from this Score thing. I don't know why I'm getting them.
Because
he kills Ryan Poles, and he kills Kevin Warren all the time.
They don't listen anymore. Because if they did, they'd understand. I've been giving Ryan Poles tremendous praise for his comeback, and he signed a 4-year extension. I said I was wrong. But these are the same people that thought Justin Fields was going to be a superstar.
That's
Believe me when I tell you this. Those guys there, they're like a cult, okay? They got their favorites. Kevin Warren can't get the stadium deal done. Give me a break.
And they're moving it. They're just talking. Oh, Alex.
Yeah, they're moving to Hammond. How's that work? And Washington decided to go back where they were at RFK because it was a mistake to move out of state.
Ask Mike about Alex Bergman. What's that with the Cubs? And I'm
Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
Well, these folks are all listening because they're all loyal listeners of mine, and they miss me. And you miss me, and you know it. Alex Bregman is one of the big cheats in baseball history. If he,
okay.
Well,
I'm not. No.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Are you and I don't know how much it was brought up, but he got immunity because baseball would have even a bigger problem. There was probably a ton of guys that were in on this, and they decided to give him immunity when he could have been banned from baseball. I think the guy is a terrific addition to the Cubs. I see he chose the number 3. He said he wants to win his 3rd ring. I say it's his 3rd team. Babe Ruth wore number 3. I think the number should be retired. He saved the game. If he doesn't show up after the 1919 scandal, the Black Sox scandal, they're done. So
here's a question for you, Mike.
I love the guy though, and I love the addition, and I hope they keep Nico Horner.
Here's a question for you. What about the Bears moving to Indiana? What do you think?
I think it's going to be. It's in the Hammond area, which is 36 miles, okay, from Chicago.
Hammond, Indiana.
Well, that's why I don't care about Kevin Warren. He's not a football man. I care about the stadium that he's been in charge of for 3 years, and they have listened to
moving it to Newark.
Well, I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is they have 353 acres at Arlington Park Racetrack, just like SoFi. The same situation. This is a family that inherited the team. It's worth billions now. You're worried about some tax dollars. I understand that. But if you move to Hammond, you're not going to get any kind of action. It won't add. In fact, I'd consider knocking down Soldier Field and putting a new stadium there before I would put it to Hammond.
Knocking Soldier Field down?
Yeah, enough with that. Okay, I love keep the columns. They incorporate the columns with the new stadium.
You mean
but
like
they don't do it out like they did it?
Remember they kept the upper deck of the Yankee Stadium, but they filled the stadium.
Right, you just move them. You move them to another location. You don't have to keep them there. They do that, relocate, and they're knocking down statues for Christ's sake. I'm worried about the columns. They're going to move them, but that would be my second choice: Arlington Heights. And then Soldier Field. Work it out with this Mayor Johnson, but he's another knucklehead. I mean, Johnson I think Warren wasted a year trying to get a deal with the mayor of Chicago. And he should have sensed after the first, couple meetings, this isn't going to happen right now, period. And Pritzker now is saying he's going to build the infrastructure. That's all the Bears wanted. Even when Jack Kent Cooke moved to Maryland, that was a mistake to move the land over.
Yeah.
They never improved the infrastructure.
No.
Which led to just chaos.
Period. And they lost their fan base moving out
Absolutely. It ruined the whole situation.
Actually, I think that the 49ers have lost a lot of their fan base, Mike, moving to Santa Clara, moving out of Candlestick. Because
no doubt about it.
Was in the middle of the city. Is it Chicago? I mean, that Soldier Field is right in the middle of the city, though, man. How do you move that out of there?
We always took great pride in all our teams being in the city. Look, if we could find another city location, I have no problem with that. I've been through the Hammond thing before in the 90s. They're starting to move to Gary. Okay? I don't know why you would want to do that. I think it weakens your market. It definitely will take longer to get to Hammond, especially for the season ticket holders that live in park, the northern suburbs.
Yeah.
So you see, Maryland's only 12 miles.
That's right.
Landover's only 12 miles from RFK. This is 36 miles. Hammond. So it's a whole different ball game for your season ticket holders. I hope it's a bluff. I hope it's at Arlington, or I hope it's in Chicago.
Man, I'll tell you. I mean, moving that team out of Chicago. I mean, and like you said, if you're moving it to Hammond, how in the world, those people that live up there, like up in Lake Forest, how do the folks from Lake Forest get down there?
That there's a lot of suburbs. There'd be a lot of people to take their place, but that area, a lot of that area is not prosperous. The northern suburbs, some of the southwest suburbs, they have money. But the downtown area and north seems to have more than most.
Speaking of north,
how did that sound? Pretty good, pretty good.
No, you were a grand slam as always. Always, my friend. I by the way, keep posting away, man. Dude, the weather pictures were great. You got everybody. By the way, you know what I love right now? I don't know what the hell these folks at 690 are doing, but I've got like I had like 4 questions. Hey, make sure you ask because he always
That's
takes
670. Is that 670 the
Oh,
score?
it's 670. 670 to score, yeah.
That's the station I started. Me and a bunch of other guys. Dan Jiggets, Dan McNeil. I mean, they've been there for they just went. They just went. I worked at ESPN 1000.
They said you kill everybody.
Huh?
They said you kill everybody and hate everybody.
I'm a nice guy, man. I'm telling you know what? I'm congenial now because I don't hate everybody, but they are right. But my glass is half full. I need something to cheer for.
No, I got it.
I mean, what am I? What, you want me not to kill the Bulls? You want me not to kill the... Wait, I want to ask them. Tell me which one of these teams. The White Sox, the Bulls, and I've already said the Bears. I'm on this show bragging about the Bears. I noticed we didn't talk about the Miami Hurricanes. Congratulations again. But I got to tell you something.
Don't do it. Don't do it. They're
not
going to win.
You're dominant on the line.
They're not. Dan Dockage. So Dan Dockage had me on his program. And you know what? He gets me on his program.
I saw some of him.
Hey, so he gets me on his program.
Yeah.
And I'm talking in Indianapolis. He goes, so how are you guys going to stop Indiana? And I went, hold on. How are you going to stop Miami? I said, you got the wrong thing here. I go, Oregon's overrated. And,
oh, my God. Dan Lanning, I don't want to hear him anymore.
Hey, I'm overrated.
Wait, I'm ashamed of myself. Last week, I was on AM 1000 with my buddy Carmen and DeFalco and a guy from Prop Swap, Luke Pergandy. And I said, you guys think Oregon's getting enough points? And they go, what would you give them, 5 or 6? I didn't have the guts to say I'd give them 20. My God, Indiana is a machine, and Oregon is overrated. Every single year they're supposed to do something.
I'm not impressed, man. I think they're a good 15.
I like them. Oh, by the way, if Dante Moore was going to
be... They should be favored.
You know what? Dante Moore got done a favor. It will stall off the failure he'll be once he gets to the NFL.
No. Mike, you know what he did? He took nil over the NFL because he knew he's getting paid more money. But
he didn't get off on the right foot in the game either, Dan.
No, but
that was the interception that sent him back to school.
How about this though? Also sent him back to that $3.5 million he's making a year up in Oregon.
And you know what? He's going to probably end up playing there or working for Nike someday. I've watched him closely for the last.
He's not a pro guy. He's not.
No, he's not. I'm just being straight up.
But he'll make $7 million in 2 years at Oregon. I mean,
that's awesome. College. Right. I want to go to college.
You're going to see more kids staying in college and keeping the nil than going.
And they're going to get, hopefully, their grades. Well, they get in anyway if they're great athletes. They get in. Yeah.
Mike,
no,
University of Miami's got a 19% admittance rate, and I got in. How the hell do you? I mean, I can barely get into a junior college.
Ask me when's the last time a football player carried a book, and I'll say I think I carried it longer than him in 1966.
Dude,
you know?
I mean, the only books I ever carried was the ones I was returning to get my money back because it was just that. I don't know. Hey, listen, Mike, we got to roll, brother. But listen,
all right, pal.
I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. And say hi to Philly Godfather. Tell him I said hi and go to work, my friend.
You got it, my friend. I appreciate you.
All right. Take care.
That is my friend, without a doubt. That is our legendary man, Mike North. And we are going to take a time out here. We got to do a little John Morgan, and then we're going to get the legendary Philly Godfather. We're going to go over those games. And we have got a story for you about your Eagles and how they celebrated their loss against the San Francisco 49ers. That's next. Big Sills here for Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason. That's because they win. Defending families across this great country, folks, I promise you when I tell you, there is no doubt about it that if you're ever injured on the job, these are the people that you're going to want to defend you and your family. They started this company decades ago with the premise of defending families across this country as a family business. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce.
Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley...
Had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
As we said earlier, there's a report floating around ESPN that the Eagles are very high on Fernando Mendoza. And that could potentially be a target. Now, do I think they'll be a stupid team and draft Fernando Mendoza in the first or second round? What if the Eagles draft Fernando Mendoza in the second round? That's the end of Hurts. Not immediately. This offseason, the coordinator hire and what they do in the draft, if you take a quarterback in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round, that's not going to really tell you anything. But if you take a quarterback in the top 3 rounds, that's going to tell you everything on what they want to do going forward. I happen to agree with you. Okay? I do. I think that's going to be, and this will be one of the most interesting off seasons. Their actions are going to, hey, that press conference that they had told you nothing. Kind of a little bit, but not really. By the way, Z, I think I got some supers here, man. If Mendoza can throw in the middle and read defenses, count me in, Cells. He can. What is this crazy report that AJ asked for a trade multiple times last season? Not sure I saw that. He may have privately. Pump, Corporate Bay. Hey, Don. All right. That's great news. I disagree with my friend Mike North. I don't think A.J. Brown's a cancer. I do not. Just saw it, Pump. Bleeding Green Nation. As early as week 3 before the Rams game, A.J. Brown privately requesting a trade. I wonder why. Here, let me go back to one of those questions that I asked Xander. Why is A.J. miserable? Is it the passing game or the passer? What is it? Is it AJ? By the way, we got over 1,000 folks in here on all the platforms. And we thank you guys very much. Twitter and YouTube, and we can't thank you guys enough for being in here with us. So we'll ask the question. You think it's the passer? Or is it the passing game that he's pissed? Passer or passing game? Passer? Right, Yale? Passer or pass? By the way, wait till you hear what Philly Godfather says about your football team and where they went. That's kind of what we do here. We got inside. Sills, for next week, can we get a list of names that could be a Lane Johnson replacement? You want free agency or do you want, because free agency's first. Look at what the Bears did. The Bears went off and cherry-picked off old lines, and they created an offensive line in Chicago. 3 of them starters were on different teams a year ago. Both? Okay. Was it right for him to be so pissed? He takes plays off, bad teammate. Well, here, I agree. Ask yourself this, though, hardcore. You keep going to somebody and you keep asking them to do the right thing and they won't do it. When do you start going, well, if they don't give a shit, why should I care? I agree. That's not how I'm playing it. I'm a professional 24/7. Okay? I'm a professional 24/7. I'm not going to let a guy drag my ass down because of whatever. Right? Nobody cares. They're all grown men. Who cares if they went to a strip club? I don't know. What do you mean? I don't know. Where'd you get that report from? What do I know? Because they pay you $30 freaking million. Okay? You're right, Slagger. So you're going to be kind of like, unprofessional, and you make $30 million and you're going to start not catching and giving effort. I told you this before. I don't think Nick was wrong in confronting him. I think it had more to do with his effort on that play than getting off the field. Don't you? Because here, ask yourself this. Getting off the field, I get. But wasn't that a great moment also for him to go over there and go, hey, dude, if you can't make an effort on that ball, at least do me a favor. Get off the field. You know what I'm saying? Get off the field at least, dude, right? Help me out on that. At least get off the field. Am I right when I say that? Right? That's kind of telling. 3 hours of Hurts, no thanks. Sorry, we didn't talk about Jalen Hurts for 3 hours today. Matter of fact, we were kind of defending the guy. You think we would learn what we saw yet didn't believe with the offense? AJ's a bad team. AJ's not a bad teammate. How come nobody said shit on him? Or are we waiting for that to happen with the with the throwing and tar and feathering people here coming up. Because you know what you do in Philly. You love scapegoats. Kevin Patullo is a prime example. He's a scapegoat. Kevin Patullo is not the reason your offense sucked. Okay? The reason your offense looks the way it does is because the way the coach wants it to look. If you believe that your head football coach has a lot of say in the direction of your offense, well, then the head coach, it's a great conversation that Xander and I had. Xander's like, well, wait a minute, because I asked him, do you think that Nick Sirianni is a good coach? His definition was this. Well, look, right. My takeaway on Nick is, see, Jimmy Johnson picked his coaches, picked his players, picked the direction of the team, picked the direction of the defense, and picked the direction of the offense. That's a great coach. And then he empowered his coaches. I put it together, and now you're going to execute it. That's coaching. Not sitting around micromanaging on the sideline what play to run on 4th and 11. That wasn't coaching to me. What do you think? You think that's coaching? What do you think? No. This is what we're going to do. And then come hell or high water. It's on me. If it doesn't execute, it's my world. My name's on the marquee. Hey, when shit goes sideways and I got to hear people, my name's on the marquee. Good or bad. I don't pass it around. It's on me. I've got to be better. And I will be better. As long as I have the power to make it better. That's what you have to ask your coach. See, when I see Nick, I don't see Nick as a great coach. I see Nick as a good administrator. And in today's NFL, Xander has said this to me. He says, do you think that that's maybe why you see more new dudes in the game than you do the old dudes like Gruden and Belichick not getting sniffs or opportunities to interview? I haven't heard those guys at all interviewed. That's telling. And tells you a little bit about today's NFL. It totally tells you. We're done with that. You do have to be more like Nick. But when you're talking John Harbaugh, do you know why New York is going to be better? John's going to be involved in the players selected. He's going to be involved in the coaches' selections. He's going to handpick them himself, just like Mike Tomlin. He's going to work with the analytics people because that's what today's NFL is. Hey, dude, I'm not against analytics. More knowledge you have, the better you are. I mean, to think that you can do any job by yourself is ridiculous. The more knowledgeable people you have around you and the more successful people you have around you breeds an organization that will have a lot of great thinkers. I want great thinkers around everybody. I tell people all the time when I'm putting a show together, no idea is a bad idea. The executing of it is a bad idea. That's where, you can have a great idea if you execute it wrong. Who cares? It's like putting a play on a chalkboard. I think this play is going to be a great play. Okay. Well, when you get it in the game, the guys can't execute it. Was it a bad play? No. It didn't conform to the players that you had or the coaches that you had to execute that play. It's multi-tiered when you're talking about a successful defense or offense. I could give you the greatest play. I could give you Bud Carson or Buddy Ryan's playbook on how he executed defenses. And if I gave you a crap defense, you're not going to get the same results as the 85 Bears or Gang Green. This is going to come down to the players. This is why Nick's system's not complex. Doesn't have to be. Why? Because you have exceptional players on your roster. Do you ever think, get this, when you have lesser talent, you need Kyle Shanahan. When you have great talent, Nick Sirianni will do just as well. I don't need you to be exceptional. But if there's problems, Nick can't answer them. He can't answer them because the team that he put together is limited. because it's based on the offense. That's the frustration that AJ has. It's not creative. Nick don't want it creative. Nick looks to Howie. Give me the best talent you could possibly find. Dude, you have a $200 million payroll. Can you imagine if you had a $100 million payroll? You'd win 4 games. Now, would Nick coach different? He can't. Quarterback. You're kind of stuck in the middle here. You're stuck. Almost to a point where the offensive talent that you have on your team is almost starting to hinder you now on what you can do in style of play. You spend so much money and put so much contracts together. When those guys don't succeed, there's no way out. Can't bench anybody. If those players aren't healthy, you don't have a way out of that. Doesn't matter if Kyle Shanahan is George Kittle or doesn't have George Kittle. That guy's got answers because he's a superior coach. You don't hear them bitching in San Francisco about Nick Bosa being out, Fred Warner being out, or Kittle being out, or Ayuk being out. I don't hear any of that. They go out and play ball games. They may win this Seattle game. Okay? Now I'm getting, no. Awake. I'm going to tell you one thing. I think you can get back right on top. If health really was the issue of the 2025 season for the Eagles and health was it, I think you got a better chance of getting back on top based on health, not a new coordinator. You're not going to, there's no improvements you're going to make on offense except for health. How much you think Nick's going to really evolve an offense? Not much. You're going to get healthier. I think you are going to get healthier. I think, by the way, Jalen Carter, I can't wait to see what, happens. I mean, if that guy doesn't need surgery and he took all those games off, well, then what are we doing here? What, you don't want to put bad tape up? Howie's got a lot of questions. Boy, that report about a quarterback, it's crazy. It's crazy, that report about a quarterback. I mean, Eagles looking at a quarterback, according to ESPN. How you doing? All right. You know what I love about this next guy? Boy, I'll tell you. Make you money? Here. This is why you like people like, and I love the Philly Godfather. This is why you love him. Ready? This guy pisses you off, and he makes you money. Yeah. Kind of like me and my wife. How you doing? Without further ado, what a great weekend. This is truly one of the best weekends in all of football, in all of sports, is the divisional rounds. And Chicago, the weather there, we just had Mike North on. Man, I'm telling you, I think that's going to be an issue here. But there's a soap opera going on in Philadelphia. Now, listen, I've been known to go to the Pink Pony or like someplace in industrial and Vegas and places like that. I don't know. Those are my old days. But we got a story here for you, and a guy who is everywhere. I see him being interviewed by everybody now, and his book is just killing it right now. Booked. He joins us now. He's our friend, the legendary Philly Godfather joins us now.
What's up, Dan?
Man, I'll tell you what, dude. You're a man amongst the people. I will tell you that, because you know what? You remind me of a guy that's got like, hey, I know a guy who knows a guy over here. Hey, I know a guy who knows a guy over here. There were my Italian buddies back. So there's a report going on in Philadelphia about the team after the game against the 49ers. And you tell me, man, is there any, are your guys telling you anything too, that these guys went to a strip club?
Yeah. You ever see that movie, The Bronx Tale?
I did.
Yeah. You remember when he tells his kid, Mickey Mantle makes $100,000 a year. What's your father make? If your father can't pay the rent, tell him to go to Mickey Mantle, see if he helps him. Well, Sunday, when the city was in mourning after the Eagles lost to the 49ers as 6-point favorites, home favorites, I got a phone call from my son. He was hanging out with a couple buddies at Sin City. And he goes, Dad, half the Eagles are upstairs and they're partying like they won the Super Bowl, popping bottles and laughing. He goes, what's going on? And I told him that line from the Bronx too. I said, that's exactly what's going on. Like, I know if I was, a player for the Philadelphia Eagles, I wouldn't be out celebrating after a loss like that. I'd be thinking about what happened, and I'd be devastated. But, the times have changed. The players have changed. It's not like it used to be, Dan.
Do you think the focus, that is kind of maybe a representation of the lack of focus that the team had this year?
It could be. Well, and listen, different people blow off steam in a different way. I'm not saying it didn't bother some of those guys that were there. Maybe they were, drinking away their sorrows or whatever they were doing. But you can't, like, it's just a bad image, And if my son knew, imagine how many other people knew, and everyone that was there was probably making phone calls. And they had him upstairs in the VIP and trying to hide him from everybody. But you're not hiding. The snow always melts. And it kind of breaks your heart. So everyone, all you Eagles fans out there that were in mourning, it's not like it used to be, man.
Any reports that A.J. Brown was there?
I see nothing. I know nothing.
You giving me the Schultz?
I like AJ. I'm not. No, AJ's all right with me, man.
You think A.J. Brown is on this football team in 2026?
Absolutely not. Now, I don't know how the money situation is going to play out and who's going to make out and who's not.
How about this better question? Does he want to be in Philadelphia in 2026?
I mean, you got to ask him. Maybe I can make a phone call and get him on your show next couple of weeks. But
I'd love to have him.
Yeah, and he's such a good dude. And listen, man, the media always seems to project.
Tell him we go back and forth, but I'll tell you, I'd like to talk to him because one thing's for sure. I said this, I'm 1,100% that I'd want him back on this football team this year. You're not better without him.
There's one A.J. Brown in the entire world. I mean, think about everything he does.
You're not better without him.
He's one of the best talents we've ever had in Philadelphia at the wide receiver position. It's him and Tyrell Owens. I mean, name another wide receiver that's been as good as those two guys who had the talent, the speed, the physical ability to make things happen. Now, a lot of Eagles fans are disappointed. But, anyone that thought this team was going to go to the Super Bowl, a little delusional. To repeat as Super Bowl champions, it doesn't happen 93.5% of the time. You don't win the Super Bowl in back-to-back years. Then you add a first-year offensive coordinator. I don't know how good he is or how bad he is. Then you add, your quarterback doesn't want to run the ball anymore, so he's become more one-dimensional, and he's not that elite QB that can afford to just be one-dimensional. We need, Jalen Hurts to run the ball more and make things happen when, things break down on the offensive side. The offensive line was nowhere near as good as it was last season. They weren't creating the holes. They were banged up all year. So when you combine all that and all the beef that was going on in the locker room, it was bound to happen. One and done.
What about the reports now coming out of ESPN saying that the Philadelphia Eagles would be in the market for a quarterback in early rounds instead of later rounds? I mean, do you think 2026 is going to tell us a lot about Nick and Jalen moving forward? Because, again, this was a very disappointing season this year for this team. This team had expectations. And as you said, you lost to a JV team, basically a practice squad roster because of what they had on defense. I mean, that had to be one of the more disappointing games of the weekend when it came to a team that was favored.
Yeah, 6-point favorite at home, defending world champions. You're not supposed to lose that game. Listen, if they're looking for a quarterback, that's fine, but you're going to spend a lot of money if you do get that quarterback. You might have a year or two, and then you're going to have to, give them big money. I would rather spend that money on the offensive line or whatever holes they have on the defensive side of the football. And Jalen Hurts can win you a Super Bowl. He's not an elite quarterback. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's played lights out in both of them. So as vanilla as he looked this year, he still has a Super Bowl ring. And I think you can spend that money more wisely. You want to go draft a quarterback, go ahead. But this is a guy that he's not elite, but he has played great. He's had a great career, and if you surround him with the right people, he can make it happen. So I like Jalen Hurts, the football player.
All right, let me do some football stuff here with you, National Football League wise. Do you believe that who are the favorites to get the Pittsburgh Steelers job? Do you guys do that? Do you think about, who the best odds to get the Ravens job? Because those are probably the two best jobs because of the stability in the organizations. Now, I know Pittsburgh is a headless team without a quarterback because you got Rodgers and what he's going to do. But you got Lamar in Baltimore, which is probably the best job. Who would you think is the favorite to get that Ravens gig?
I haven't even looked at it yet. I don't know if they put odds up on it yet. As soon as they put odds up on it, I'll start looking at it. As long as they don't switch coaches, Harbaugh goes to Pittsburgh and Tomlin goes to Baltimore. How crazy would that be?
Right? No, you're right. You get Tomlin going to Baltimore, and all of a sudden you got what's his name up in New York. Holy cow, there, man! You know what I like for the Pittsburgh job? I like Marcus Freeman.
Oh, he's a great coach. Is he going to go? I mean,
What's a better job, Pittsburgh or Notre Dame?
You're king of the world.
Pretty good, right? Pretty good.
It's right there. But if you're Harbaugh, would you rather go to Miami? No state income tax, beautiful weather.
He's in New York now with the Giants. They gave him 5 years, $100 million.
Oh, they gave it to him already?
Yeah, they gave. Well, wait a minute now. According to my buddy Craig Carton, he hasn't officially, but he supposedly verbally agreed to this thing.
Then he's gone.
They haven't really introduced him because he hasn't signed it yet. And why you have to be careful in New York? If you remember right, Bill Belichick did this to the Jets back in the day. So you got to kind of wobble a little bit here until that baby gets inked down.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't want to move far from where his home is down there in Maryland. But I would have went to Miami. I would have went straight to Miami coaching that team.
Get to wear capris versus snowshoes. What do you want to do, right? Snowshoes versus capris. I'm ready to go down there too, down to Fort Lauderdale. All right, let's get to these Giant games, man. I mean, do you agree that this weekend is probably one of the best weekends in all of football?
Yeah, the best of the best. The teams that win in December and January, they're the real McCoy teams that win earlier frauds like you talk about all season. And we got some good football up ahead. You got a AFC conference. It's wide open. Could be Josh Allen's year. Mahomes ain't there. A couple of the other better quarterbacks aren't there this year. But Drake May has played lights out. And the NFC, to me, I mean, anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Absolutely. Let's go to the games here now. First game's on Saturday. Buffalo at Denver. Josh Allen goes to Mile High. 1.5 points right now. Denver is favored, 45.5. Denver's really had a great year. Buffalo last week, I think, played against a really tough Jaguar team that if they win that game, I think the Jags could go a long way in the playoffs, but they knocked that 14-3 out. What a big moment here for Josh Allen. Bo Nix has done a nice job, almost $4,000 passing. How do you see this game? This is a CBS game early on Saturday.
Yeah, there's no excuses this year for Josh Allen.
Nope.
The elite quarterbacks aren't there this year. He's the best of the best. He's probably the best quarterback in the playoffs this year. Matt Stafford's right there with him. But game opened up Buffalo -1.5. Now with flip-flop. Broncos are 1.5 point favorites. So there's some sharp early money that hit the screen on Denver, on the Broncos here. Buffalo went down there on the road and they beat a Jags team that, they got one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think they were ranked 4th overall, slightly below Denver. So, the Jags defense was almost as good as the Broncos, but their offense was a lot better. I know the Jags averaged like 4 or 5 points more scored per game than Denver. So I think the Bills have a great shot with Josh Allen here to go on the road. I know it's hard to win in Denver. They got, Mile High, their home field advantage. I think they only lost 1 game all season there. But this is I think this might be the year where Josh Allen gets it done. I can't bet Bo Nix over Josh Allen. I mean, you're giving me plus points with Josh Allen. They get Oliver back this week. Curtis Samuel's playing, so that's going to help. And the Broncos, they've won, 9 games by like 1 score or less. this season. They've been extremely lucky. I think they're number one.
Including Philly.
Yeah, that was a miracle win. I mean, they're number one in luck ratio this season. They've barely beaten some really bad teams. So I like Josh Allen here, man. I bet against him last week. I made the mistake. He put the Superman cape on.
Me too.
And he beat that team. And even though the Jags team as a nucleus was better, Josh Allen was better than Trevor Lawrence. And that's what, I think the same thing happens this week.
Over under 45.5. Where would you go there? Where would you go there with that?
I mean, it depends on the win. I would keep track of the weather in that football game. At 45, it seems kind of low, but both pass defenses are, I think, top 5 in opponent yards per pass attempt. If I had I haven't bet it yet. I hate giving out stuff I haven't bet yet, but I would lean under.
San Francisco at Seattle. An oblique injury has popped up midweek here for Sam Darnold. Seems he's going to play through it. It's 7 points still that Seattle is favored in this game, and it's 45.5. San Francisco pulled the upset, obviously, against the Eagles at Lincoln Financial last week. And, boy, I'll tell you what, you want to know how to coach a football team, you just watch Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh on the other side. But, boy, that Seattle team, that's got to be the best roster maybe in all of pro football in this divisional round. So how do you see this game?
Yeah, I mean, Shanahan, he's done it with Band-Aids and bubble wrap all season. It's amazing the job he's done. And I think they're like 8-2 on the road, so they've played really well on the road. This line opened up Seahawks -7 and went to 7.5 for like a New York second. But then some sneaky sharp money took the 7.5 on San Francisco, pushed it back down to 7 where it's currently at. Total, I think, is 45.5.
Yep.
Really hasn't moved much since it opened up. No, it has. It's actually going down about a point, down to 44.5, I think. Early bets, it's basically like 50-50, so nothing really going on there. There's some more money on San Francisco early than Seattle, but that's not by much. Man, this is a tough game to handicap because, like you said, if you look at overall offense, defensive DVOA, Seattle ranks number 1 in the entire league. As a nucleus, probably the best team in the NFL. But their quarterback, unproven commodity in the playoffs, and now he has that oblique issue. He folded like a cheap suit last year in the playoffs with the Vikings, and that team is kind of eerily similar to the Seahawks team, even though their offensive line isn't as good as the Seattle's offensive line. But if you look at the defensive metrics, if you look at how he played last year during the regular season, it's very similar. Man, as much whether you like Brock Purdy or not, he's played better in the playoffs than Sam Darnold. He's played better in big moments in the playoffs. This is tough, man.
Here's the one thing I'll give you as the one thing that I did dig about Darnold this year versus last year. He did turn to a pumpkin the last 2 games. He had to win that Rams game to get the number 1 seed and get the number 1 overall. Remember last year, he had that Detroit game that the division, the North, was on the line. He got blown out in that game. I don't know. Maybe you know what? He learned from that and how to keep his composure because they won that ball game and they are the number 1 seed and they got a shot to host the NFC Championship. I'm not trying to talk you into it, but I'm saying I think I think that coaching him, McDonald and those guys. Think about the Ram game too. The first Ram game, they had 4 turnovers in the game and they only lost by 3 on the road at SoFi. That's a good looking unit there. Yeah. I just don't know. I agree with you on Purdy. Purdy threatens the middle of the field. He might be the most underrated quarterback in the entire playoffs.
Yeah, and their offense is one of the best in the NFL. And listen, the last time they played Seattle, they lost 13-3. But I don't think Trent Williams played. He's playing in this game. Purcell's back. He's playing. I think Seattle's off. I think San Francisco's offense is better than Seattle's. Obviously, Seattle's defense is better. 7.5 just seems like a lot of points. If you do like Seattle, play it safe. Put them in a teaser. Grab him down like a 7-point teaser just to win the game outright. Maybe you can tie him in with the Texans at plus 10. That might be the safer way to bet it. But I got a weird feeling, man. San Francisco is going to show up here. And like I said, they didn't look good last time they played Seattle. They lost 13-3 and they got killed on the box score. But Trent Williams is playing this time around. And I think it's going to be a different it's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the wire, I think. I like the over in this game, too, over 44.
Let's go to the Sunday games. Houston has to go to bad weather New England and go to Foxborough, a dome team heading to Foxborough to take on Mike Vrabel's guys and Drake May. It is 3-point favorites, New England, going into this ball game. How do you see this with the best defense in all of pro football?
Yeah, 14 wins on the season for the Patriots. They haven't, people say they had the easiest strength of schedule, but they still won 14 games in the NFL, and that's not easy to do. 3-point favorite. Line went to 3.5 for a second. Then there was some sharp money that took the Texans plus 3.5, pushed it back to 3. The bet split's basically 50-50. Total's down to 40.5 at most shops. Saw a couple 41s out there. Both teams are relatively healthy when you look at their health score. Texans are slightly healthier, but this is back-to-back road games for the Texans here, and that's never easy. Drake May's better than C.J. Stroud. I mean, you saw C.J. struggle against the Steelers, and that defense is what really won that game last week. Texas defense, though, I think they're in the league of their own. Their sack and pressure rates are among the best in the NFL. You look at the Patriots defense, they're okay. They're okay against mediocre competition. Both offensive lines, I think they've struggled this year. They're ranked 26th and 30th in sacks allowed. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of points put up on the board here. I don't think these quarterbacks are going to have a lot of time to throw the ball. I like the Texans here, man. Plus 3.
Wow.
In the NFL. Right before the Chiefs game, if you remember, I came on your show and they were 30-1 to win the Super Bowl. And I said, that price has a lot of value with this Texans team because they were finally healthy. And that defense is elite, one of the best defenses I've seen in a long time. They're battle tested back-to-back year in the playoffs. Last year, they should have beat the Chiefs. The refs robbed them. We're going to find out how good the Patriots are this week, man. That's the bottom line. I still don't know how good this team is. It's I keep going back and forth, and Drake May's had an amazing season, and I love Mike Vrabel. If you look at his second half adjustments over the years, he's one of the best coaches in the NFL, but I still don't know how good this Patriots team is. Give me the Texans with that defense, plus 3, plus 3.5. Put them in a teaser as well. Get plus 10.
And that Houston Texans team started out 0-3 on the season. Put that out there too, man. What a great job of coaching D'Amico Ryans here.
Yeah.
The weather in Chicago is absolutely off the charts bad right now. I mean, I saw the wind blowing at not only Soldier Field, but also over at O'Hara. It was snowy. They're looking for absolutely off the cuff weather coming off the lake. I mean, they've shut down the Dan Ryan and also Lakeshore Drive that right outside of Soldier Field. The Rams dome team going into Chicago. The Rams are favored as a road dog going in 4.5. What do you think going into this football game against this very physical Chicago Bears team?
Man, the weather's going to play a major role here. If you look on paper, the Rams are a much better team. You look at all the metrics, DVOA, net yards per play differential, and so many other stats. But they're just 5-4 on the road this season, the Rams. So they don't really travel well. Their defense isn't scaring anyone since week 12. I think they're in the basement of the NFL in a bunch of defensive stats, metrics. They ranked just 21st in the league in opponent yards per rush attempt. And this Bears team is one of the better rushing teams in the NFL. They're definitely top 5. Swift has made a big difference there. Ben Johnson, the way they're running the ball. This one's tough. You got an MVP quarterback, the Rams. But he does have a finger issue. I mean, if you look at how he played last week, he had 300 yards passing, but his QBR was the lowest it's been in any game this season. I think it came in at 48.3. So his finger definitely affected him.
He got beat up in that Carolina game.
Yeah, and that Panthers team, man, they put up a ton of points against this Rams defense that's supposed to be one of the better ones. And people talk about all the weapons the Rams have and, Puka and Devontae Adams. But if you look at those weapons on that Bears offense, I think they got more weapons on the Bears team than they do on that Rams team. If the weather was beautiful and perfect, I'd be all over the Rams. But, man, I hope the weather keeps getting worse and worse because I got a 42-1 ticket on the Bears to win it all. And at plus 4, I like the Bears here. I don't know if they're going to be able to win the game, but I think it's a field goal game, man. Give me the Bears plus the 4 points.
Well, Pat Callahan, Xander has sold me on, God rest his soul, but I got to tell you, man, I think Chicago wins this game.
I hope so.
And here's the thing why. Carolina was a physical football team. Look at the teams they beat this year. They beat the Packers in Lambeau. They beat the Cowboys up. They beat the Rams earlier in the year, too. They've got such a limited roster. They got more probably of a limited roster compared to even what the Niners have, but they are physical. And the one thing that Chicago is over Los Angeles, I think that, again, I think they're just more physical than what the Rams are heading into this game. What do you make of that number? 48.5 in weather. You're thinking it's 48 now. Boy, that's a lot of points for a snowstorm and wind in Chicago, right?
Yeah, it opened, I think, 51.
Wow.
Down to 48.5. It's probably going to close like 46. It all depends on how windy it is, man. And it looks like it's, they're talking about 20-mile-per-hour winds, 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. But, the weather changes quickly in Chicago. We were expecting really bad winds last week, and that wasn't the case by kickoff. Second half of the game is going to get colder, even windier. And this Bears team, best second half team in the entire league this year in the NFL. They're really the outlier because their metrics and their stats, they don't add up. They shouldn't be a number 2 seed in the playoffs, and yet they are, and yet they keep winning. They have the X factor. They're very resilient. Ben Johnson, he's made all the difference in the world. You saw him last year with the Lions, and they fell off since he left, and the Bears have been elevated as a team. He's the type of coach that these players, play hard for. And again, I think the run game is going to be the difference here. On the total, 48.5, just pay attention. If it gets windier and windier, you got to go under the total.
All right, I'm going to take you to Monday night. You ready here? The Miami Hurricanes versus the Indiana Hoosiers. No disrespect to my boy Big Z and his Bama guys, but I'm sorry, I'm not impressed with what they've done. I think Oregon's overrated. Okay? Miami went into Kyle Field and shut a team down that put 41 on Notre Dame, held them to 3.
Yeah.
They beat up Ohio State in that game more than what I thought Indiana beat up Ohio State in that Big Ten championship. They had to play a different style of football. They did against Ole Miss, and they went and they threw for points. They beat you in different styles. I do think that Indiana team is a really good football team. I really do. You're 15-0 for a reason here. It's 7.5 going into a place. Now, I'm going to give you a little history here, too. Of the 5 national titles that we've won, 3 of them we have won in our home field in South Florida at the Old Orange Bowl. So we got the game at home. We're the first CFB team in BCS era to have the team host the championship game on our home field. What do you like here?
The look-ahead line was 4.5, and then Indiana, destroys Oregon, and they reopened the number at 7.5. It's reached up I've seen it as high as 8.5 and 9.
I have too.
You could buy the 10, probably minus 130 right now. I think it's a lot of points, Dan. If you can give me 10 points on this Miami team, I think they got a shot at winning the game. You're giving me 10 points? That's too many points. That's such an overreaction in the market just because they blew out an Oregon team that, turned the ball over 3 times in the first half. This Miami team has played the tougher competition in the playoffs. Who they beat? They beat A&M. They beat Ole Miss.
And Ohio State.
It's a lot of points. And then you look at
this too, Mike. They beat Notre Dame this year. They beat A&M this year. They've beat Ole Miss this year, 13-1 Ole Miss team. They've beaten Ohio State this year. I don't know. Tell me who Indiana has beaten this year outside of Ohio State.
Yeah, no one really. And 80% of the early action, the public money, and you never want to be on the public side, is on Indiana. They're betting like they got, Tuesday's newspaper, like they already know who's going to win the game. That's a ton of points, man. And listen, Miami's defense, they got so much speed on that defense. Their offensive line, their defensive line, the nucleus of this Miami's team, Hurricanes team, is one of the best in college football. Carson Beck, he's played against some of the best defenses in the SEC at Georgia, so the moment's not going to be too big for him. Mendoza's had a great year. He's the Heisman Trophy winner, but this Miami defense is no joke. And actually, Miami's offensive line, I think they ranked like 17 spots higher in protecting the quarterback.
Yeah, I think they got better lines going into this game, too. I think they got the better D-line with Mesidor and with Ruben Bain, and I think they've got the better offensive line with Magala out there. They got an average offensive line that averages 6'6". It's bigger than the Eagle O-line.
Yeah. and their defensive line ranks higher in sack and pressure rate than Indiana's. So, all right, where do they have the edge at quarterback? All right, you give them a slight edge at quarterback, but other than that, these teams are very evenly matched. Give me the 10 points with Miami, and you got some balls. Bet them on the money line.
Absolutely, man. I mean, what's the most intriguing game this weekend in the NFL? What's the game that you could see the biggest upset? Buffalo, Denver, San Francisco, Seattle, Houston, New England, or the Rams in Chicago?
I think the 49ers got a shot here. One of the best coaches in the NFL. More experience. Quarterback has more experience. And people have been talking about they've been banged up, but they've been banged up all season, and they're still winning games. And like I said, Trent Williams, I don't think he played last time these two teams met. No. They beat the first week of the season. They beat Seattle first week of the season. And I think that could be the biggest upset of this weekend. Other than Miami, if Miami goes in, obviously wins, outright 10 points.
I'm feeling, listen, I feel pretty good about that game on Monday. We had a chance to talk to all the guys, and there's a great moment for those guys for history. Great moments are made by great opportunities, as Herb Brooks would say. And this is a great opportunity for those guys. I mean, no question. What is gambled on more? What week? The wild card week or the divisional week?
Oh, there's more games the wild card week.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're going to see more money. And then a lot of the guys they like to go crazy during the wild card week, so they blow all their money, so they ain't got no money left for the next following week. But if you're sharp and you're consistent and you practice money management, you can beat the market.
Fantastic stuff, my friend. Tell the folks where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on X at Philly Godfather. The website is thephillygodfather.com. If you want to pick up a copy of the book, I was on Fox 29 TV yesterday promoting it. You can go to phillybook.com.
Did I see you with Glenn Beck?
No, I was with Mike Jarrett. Mike
Jarrett. Yeah. So you're a lot of places you've been going over pimping the book. How's the book doing?
Doing great, man. And we're working on a bunch of other things as well, and big things on the horizon. I actually took my Chicago Bears ticket. I took it to the studio, and he showed it on TV at 42-1. So let's cheer on the Bears and let's cheer on the Miami Hurricanes.
Absolutely. Brother, great weekend in football. I will see you next week, my friend.
Good luck, guys.
You got it. That is the legendary Philly Godfather. Yeah, I'm feeling it with Miami. I'm sorry. I'm not impressed with Indiana. We've played a tougher schedule this year. We're ready to go. Who has Indiana played? Name me a team outside. Oregon and who? Ohio State? We beat Ohio State. It's funny. Every time I hear people talking about the Canes and who they've played, well, Notre Dame moans about the fact that, they didn't get in. Well, we beat Notre Dame. We beat a team that beat Notre Dame. Then at the other end, we end up turning around and we beat a Ole Miss team that was 13-1. We beat Ohio State. Then we turned around and we ended up taking care of, without a doubt, we took care of Texas A&M at home as well. So at the end of the day, all good. All right, folks, my great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason. They go out and they win for you and your family. The number one reason that they've collected over $26 billion is because they win. Attorneys from coast to coast, my friends, make sure that if you're ever injured on the job, they take care of you. Do me a favor. Go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sills sent you.
Yeah! There's a reason the Karate Master was the number one salesman in the lumber department.
Karate.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
So for me, I have Buffalo beating Denver. And I'll take the points 28-26. San Francisco at Seattle. Close. 27-24. Seattle. I got New England holding off Houston. And I got to tell you, man, Chicago in that weather, I think I got Chicago. I want the Rams to win, but I think Chicago takes care of business. Pretty weird, huh? This weekend for Eagle fans, it's going to be like, withdrawal. All right, guys, we will see you Monday. Big Z and Joe, thank you. Don't forget to catch me on SportsGrid from noon to 2 on Saturday and Sunday. We appreciate all of you. Back on Monday. Guys, I appreciate you more than you know, and we'll see you on the flip side.